How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the TimcastIRL podcast. I am
Yes,
Tim
it
Poole,
is.
and I am joined by...
What's up, everybody? Adam Krigler here. How you doing?
And also...
And we also got
The Invisible Lady?
the Invisible
Lydia?
Yes.
The Invisible Lady.
All
You know-
right, we got the F's in chat. We're ready to rock.
About the
Yeah,
F's in
man.
chat.
Mhm.
There was a period where there was it was like a light at the end of the tunnel. We've been having this pandemic thing kind of come and go. You know, it's been up and down. It's like it's not so bad. Oh man, it's the end of the world. It's not so bad. And then
Yeah,
these
roller coaster.
these drone shots get released of New York City digging mass graves, and I'm like, ugh,
Corona coaster.
they're double stacking dead bodies on top of each other.
That's nuts. I saw
It's
those
disgusting.
pictures.
It's horrifying.
You gotta pull
It really is.
And they're saying, don't
really
worry,
is.
don't worry. The mass graves are temporary. You just got to come and claim the dead. It's like, hold on, man.
Wait.
You dug 'em-
Seriously? That's what they're saying?
I think we'll read through it to be sure.
Oh man.
All right, but anyway, we got a bunch of stories for all of you guys. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. YouTube makes it very difficult for everybody, but also hop in the super chat if you want us to read your comments. We will, and everyone's going nuts in chat with all the Fs.
Appreciate
Oh,
you
man.
guys.
Hopefully,
Hi,
it's,
everyone.
hopefully it's working. We're live, right?
Yeah, it should be good.
Uh,
That's,
but-
that's F for love.
Yes.
F
for
for
love.
F for loving the show. That's
There we
Alright.
go. Perfect.
that's
Good
what
news.
that's how I take it.
Yeah, we're good.
But we got. Well, we're gonna start with this horrifying story,
Yep.
and then because we love to just be pessimists. But there's actually there's a couple of things within this. Normally they use prison labor to dig the mass graves,
Okay.
and it's like a normal thing. When
Really?
Yeah, when somebody
Wait, to dig mass graves
Yep.
is a normal thing?
normal thing in New York.
Are they constantly digging mass
Yes,
graves?
they are
Really? Not because of the pandemic, just in general.
in general.
What?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so apparently, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure somebody asked Bill de Blasio, the mayor,
Uh-huh.
like, hey, what's going on with these prison inmates digging mass graves for the COVID dead? And he goes, no. We do this all the time. It's normal. And everyone was like, oh, God, what do you mean?
That's
normal.
way worse. Like what?
That is not
You're not
better.
making us feel better.
Dude,
Oh, man.
everybody wants to walk around with their blinders on.
Yeah, clearly.
And there's serious problems with population expansion and population density in New York. So we'll say we're going to come up on this story. We've also got Vox asking the strange question. There's so much wrong with this. Why is it that men are more susceptible? Why fewer women are being impacted?
Okay.
But the first problem I have with this article from Vox is like, you can't spend the past several years talking about how there's like no sex differences and
Yeah.
all this weird social justice stuff. I'm not saying they're the worst, but now all of a sudden when there's science involved and men are dying more, like twice the rate women are, now it's like, why is this?
Are there differences?
Perhaps there are.
Oh, I can't wait to get into that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to be fun.
That was
Or-
sarcasm, by the way. I
But
don't know if
but
you
also
caught that.
the coronavirus has exposed just how deep toxic masculinity runs in our culture.
Oh,
That's right.
really?
Yeah, there's always some way to weasel in some stupid ideological nonsense.
Great. More
Trying not to
fun.
swear, but we do have a fun story. We've got moon mining coming. We got a
Yeah.
big telescope. We got some space exploration.
Yes.
We just watched Interstellar again.
I'm all about it.
What a fun movie!
It's a good movie.
It's fun to watch stuff and be optimistic.
You should watch the show Mars. I just finished watching it. It was really good.
What's it about?
It's about us colonizing Mars, but it's half documentary, half show. And it goes back into basically like 4 years ago into the science of what we knew, because that's when it came out.
Oh, it's legit.
Yeah,
Like
a
it's like
legitimate documentary
nonfiction.
and fiction. It's both. So it's cool. It's a mix, because half of it is showing like what we had prepared for, say, a pandemic that would have hit us on Mars if we were to find one and have it run through us. And they talk about SARS. They talk about China lying about stuff in SARS. Of course, this now happens, but
You know, it'd be cool.
the episode then they hit a pandemic in Mars and it like kills a bunch of people.
wow.
And
You know, it'd be
it's,
cool.
It's crazy, but yeah, it's awesome.
It'd be cool if like they do experiments in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were reading a story. I think it was last week that they found evidence that Antarctica used to be like a tropical
Right.
paradise.
Yeah, right.
Jungle or whatever. Digging deep into the ice, and it releases some ancient viruses or fungus that infects the human brain and turns them into host zombies that run around. Like, what's that video game? The Last of Us. Wouldn't that be awesome? Just
No.
all humanity wiped out in a fungus zombie apocalypse.
I'm sorry, no.
No?
Yeah, but as part of one of the themes we've talked about in the past several weeks, there's so many people who pretend like that would be fun
Yeah.
until
They think it would be fun
those are the-
because it's not the movies. They see the movies
Right.
and they're like, oh man, I would be awesome there.
It's-
That would be great.
Right.
Sure.
man, if I
'Cause
saw a
that's what
zombie, I'd be
reality's
like,
like.
dude, you can't. I'm so much better and faster. It's like those are the people you don't want to be in the apocalypse with. It's also kind of like
Those
you know,
are the
what's-
those are the fake tough people.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the saying? It's like the quiet guy at the bar is the one you don't want to mess with.
Right.
It's the guy who's pretending to be all tough.
Yep.
I mean, it's not always the case.
Yeah.
Often there's a lot of arrogant dudes who are tough.
Yeah, that's a
and
good
they'll be
point.
like, I can do whatever I want, and they'll actually punch you in the face. But speaking of getting punched in the face, let's jump to our first segment.
All right.
The Daily Mail reports workers in full hazmat suits bury rows of coffins in Hart Island mass grave as New York City officials confirm coronavirus victims will be buried there if their bodies aren't claimed within 2 weeks after death toll rises to 4,260. So, man, this is brutal.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
a few things that need to be pointed out because I don't trust the city. I think they're lying.
Okay.
They're claiming these are contract laborers. All right, I'm going to give you all a warning. For those that are just tuning in, there's going to be some images that might not make you happy. They're not graphic or anything, but they're images of the mass graves. And so, look, I think this is newsworthy. It's important to talk about.
It is pretty shocking, yeah.
But my deepest
Fair
sympathies,
warning.
condolences to those who have lost their lives, their loved ones. These are people who haven't been claimed by anybody, so it's probably older
man.
people, homeless people. I'm not showing this out of a lack of sensitivity. I'm showing it because we need to have a conversation about what real life is like.
I didn't even think about the homeless in New York. There is a lot.
And that's why they do this normally.
Wow.
So here you can see these workers in full PPE gear. They're stacking bodies. This guy's standing on the grave, on these coffins.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're stacked two on top of each other, maybe even more.
Yeah, at least. Can't really see very well, but
And it looks
at
like
least two.
this guy's like standing, like up to his shins in the dirt that's being poured in.
Yeah.
These are mass graves, man.
Oh man.
Now look, New York City said these are not prison laborers doing it. And it's kind of insane they had to do that in the first place. I don't believe them. You know why? Check this out. This is from March 31st, The Intercept. Rikers Island prisoners are being offered PPE and $6 an hour to dig mass graves.
$6 an hour? That's BS, man. That's
You know-
ridiculous.
you know-
That's hard labor, yo.
Let me just say, these people who are begging for a zombie apocalypse and like a nightmare dystopia.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be really cool if I lived in a future? You're living in it, dude.
Yeah.
You are here. You're locked in your house. People are getting arrested for going outside. They're spying on your cell phones. Google knows where you are. You know, Google's tracking everyone's phone data and publishing it.
Publishing it.
Not your individual data, but they're tracking what everyone is doing and then publishing the mass data of
Whoa.
like, here's what humans are doing. So they're
I didn't know
tracking
that.
you.
So
Yeah.
my siblings and I tried this where you type into Google, "We are with you," and it pulls up your location.
Yeah, if you
It
type
says that
if you
I'm
type
right
in
here.
something like "We are with you here" or something like that.
Yeah, we're here with you.
We
Yeah.
are here with you. Yeah, some
Yeah.
weird thing like that.
What, and it shows you where you are?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
pulls
shows
up your
exactly
location.
where you are.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my sister did
Okay.
it on DuckDuckGo and nothing. Obviously.
Of course, it's Google being
It's
creepy.
Google being
Yep.
creepy.
That's
Listen.
what I use. Duck.
Yep.
We are living in a world where a pandemic is sweeping the globe.
Yep.
People are being arrested when they go outside. People are being arrested for telling jokes in some countries, like in the UK. We've
People
got
are being shot in other countries for just breaking quarantine.
no, that's
and
not
kill-
true. That was fake news.
Oh, was it?
Totally fake news.
Interesting. All
Yeah.
right.
So we'll clear this one up. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was
good.
gonna do a segment on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Everyone. So Duterte in the Philippines said shoot him dead if they break quarantine.
Right.
And
Was that true?
That was true.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden the story started going around saying man who breaks quarantine is shot dead. Yeah. And so I'm like, wow, look, there it is. There's
Yep.
the news.
Right.
So I pull it up. I'm like, let's talk about it. And so then I start, I read a little bit and I'm like, man, that's crazy. Guess what the story really was? A few paragraphs down.
What?
Well, the guy was drunk and swinging a
geez.
scythe at people.
Oh yeah.
They didn't shoot him for breaking quarantine. They shot a drunk man swinging a scythe at civilians.
Whoa.
He's like
That's,
the Grim
that's
Reaper.
crazy.
It's a crazy story,
It's crazy, but it's not.
but it's not
He's
someone.
not breaking quarantine.
Yeah. It wasn't
No.
'cause of
He's
that.
actually a threat to society.
But you know what's really scary? You know what proves we're in the dystopia?
What?
That people don't think we're in one.
That's a good point.
It's like you have been coaxed into this nightmare world.
Well, it feels like some people are in this and some people aren't. I took a walk today and I saw other people, my neighbor, hey, what's up? How you doing? Walked past, across the street, social distancing and all, but it
We were
felt
6 feet
normal, it didn't, there's that's why people were like, is it real? Is this really happening? Because I don't see it. I don't know anybody that's sick. And obviously it's really happening, even though you can't see it. But it does feel like there's still bubbles of people that are, life's still kind of normal.
This is how movies desensitize us.
Yeah.
We're so used to watching a movie where there's constant action.
Yeah, like
all the
something has
time.
to happen for you to know that okay, whoa, now we're in the pandemic. Now it's actually happening.
Let me tell you, buddy, when they started digging the mass graves
Yeah.
and they started using prison labor to do it, that was a long time ago. We've been here for a minute. So what I guess people don't realize, New York, what is it, 8.6 million in the city.
Yeah.
What do you
Almost 9. Right.
400, so it's 150 people die per day in New York on average.
Normally.
Normally.
Okay.
Right now it's way up. Like, it was like 750 the other day, like ridiculous because of COVID.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize is homeless people, like tens of thousands,
There really is a lot.
they die. Like, what do you think they do with them? They dig mass graves
Yeah, I
and just
never really
dump the
thought about
bodies
it.
on Hart Island.
Yeah.
That's, and it's only going to get worse. And it's going to get, it's going to be increasingly, I don't know, man. Look, New York City's population density, it's like 28,000 per square mile. People are living in smaller and smaller houses, microscopic apartments for insane amounts of money. At a certain point, it's got to snap.
I mean, this is the snapping point. I know
Yeah,
people
good point.
personally that have left New York because they lost
But not
their
coming
jobs,
back.
and they're not coming back.
Yep.
They packed their stuff up and took it with them.
Yeah.
They can't pay for their apartment anymore. Luckily, they have places to go, but I can't imagine this is not happening everywhere in New
Yeah,
York.
dude.
Because New York's expensive. It's not cheap to live there.
Yeah.
Food's more expensive. Living's more expensive. Everything's more expensive there. So, and
This
you
was-
don't necessarily make more money there either. You know,
Right.
sometimes you do, and you get lucky, you get a good job. You know, but it's people are going there and they're realizing
I think COVID
not-
was the dam breaking.
it is. Yeah, exactly.
Because now people, like, so many people are dying.
Yep.
So many people have left because of economic reasons, don't want to come back.
Yep.
And I'm sure a lot of people are scared to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
But the population density was so insane
really-
that
yeah.
New York City apparently now is like the worst city on the planet for COVID.
Wow, really?
New York State is like
Yeah,
the
it
epicenter
is.
of infections. And people keep trying to flock into these big cities and just at a certain point you can't sustain life that tightly packed.
The crazy thing is, I have friends that are still in New York. They send me pictures like check out the park here, and there's people hanging out in the park, like not just like sporadically or by themselves, but just hanging out in the park like everything's normal. The mayor actually took up all the hoops in the basketball courts, took them off. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys heard about this. It's because people kept playing
Yep.
basketball.
Yep.
And it's like you're sweating, you're coughing, you're not coughing, but
gosh.
you're sweating all over each other, playing basketball. Basketball's fun, but when there's a pandemic, maybe you shouldn't play, but now they don't have a choice.
It's even outside of the pandemic. These photos of these people digging mass graves.
Yeah.
Like the defense was, no, we do this all the time. There's tons of mass graves. Yeah, they do it all the time.
That's not a defense. That makes it worse and weirder.
Right.
Oh my
They,
gosh.
they actually imagine this. Bill de Blasio's so used to them doing this. He actually thought people would be like, oh, they do it all the time.
Okay.
What do you mean? It's not a big deal. We do it all the time. People were like, oh, what?
Yeah.
It's creepy, man. The fact that we've gotten to the point even before the pandemic should have been a red flag to everybody. Take a look at these photos, man. For those that are listening, I can just describe them, but you got a bunch of people walking around in the white like hazmat suits, and on both ends it looks like of this big trench they've dug, there's just caskets stacked up. They have a ladder going down. It's got to be like what, 10 feet, you think?
Oh, man,
Maybe
I don't know.
12 feet.
12 feet?
deep, yeah, at the deep part there.
Yep, at the deep part. 12 feet. They got little what was that, a little bobcat or something?
Dude, that's 4
Look
deep.
at that.
Wow.
Whoa. This is showing 3 coffins deep.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
3
Gosh.
coffins deep.
Wow. That's
Man.
crazy.
Oh,
You know where? You know
Of course,
where?
that one coffin there looks empty. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that was like maybe it busted open and I don't know.
Oh, let's hope not.
no.
Yeah, dude, they're stacking 3 coffins.
3 coffins deep, man.
Wow, dude. Welcome. Why would anyone want to live in this place? Now it's an island.
Yeah.
It's not like you could stumble upon it.
Yeah, and that building looks pretty abandoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's trees
Yeah,
growing
I
out the
wonder.
top of it. Yeah,
But that's so messed up, dude.
That's
We
creepy.
can't live like this. What's going to
Holy
happen
cow.
in 100 years? You're going to run out of space on the island. What do you do?
I mean, we're
Viking
already
funerals?
plowing over everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and just more concrete. Put more buildings
Dude,
up.
Yeah.
You look at a map, a satellite map
Mm-hmm.
of the United States,
Okay.
and you see it's green, right?
Yeah.
You see it's green on the East Coast, and then as you move to the Midwest, you start seeing a little brown in the Rockies and everything like that.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like you were seeing trees and stuff. You're not. It's all developments. So I've been looking just around various areas for like farm properties,
Yeah.
and I would find like a very green area when you zoom out on satellite. When you zoom in and get closer and closer, it's houses, suburbs.
Yeah.
You're just seeing the grass, but everything's been ripped apart. There are some parts like the Pennsylvania wilds that are still, very, very foresty for long stretches.
Yeah.
For the most part, man, everything's been torn up no matter where you go.
Not in Kansas.
No.
Nope.
Well, no, obviously as we move west, it starts
Yeah.
getting, further and further
Definitely
apart.
on the east.
But the East Coast, you know
Yeah.
what? Now here's where it gets worse.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, have you looked at Europe? It's basically the same.
Right? No, it's worse.
Yeah.
New York is way worse. Check this out. More coronavirus patients testing positive again after recovery report. And here I was getting all, I was feeling better because they were saying like, we think we're nearing the peak. We think we're gonna, I think it was, Trump's administration said May 1st, we're aiming for reopening.
Yeah.
Then this story comes out. This is from today. People are testing positive again after recovery. Like they're getting reinfected or.
Didn't we know about this like
No, well,
2 months ago? Someone in Japan got
yeah,
reinfected.
but one story is like maybe it was a false positive. Maybe it
Okay,
was a
you're
false
right.
negative.
Yeah, but we talked about having multiple phases,
Yep.
and that could potentially be a thing.
Now we have more stories of people getting reinfected. So what? We're gonna be locked down forever talking about this stuff. You know what I mean?
And what's really scary is if it does mutate and we make a vaccine for the first version, and by the time we make the vaccine and start working it into the population, if it mutates to something different, will we always just be chasing this? Or are we going to ever beat it?
That's
Maybe-
kind of what we do with the flu. Is we're constantly chasing it.
Right. So-
Sometimes it's not very effective.
It's not the flu. It's different.
Right.
But in that same sense, are we just going to forever be chasing coronavirus?
Maybe
Changes.
we can't even. Maybe we've just reached the point where humanity can't grow larger than it is. There's
Interesting.
It's a scary premise.
What are we at? Like 8 billion?
7 billion.
7 point something billion.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the line. And then the population density is so intense. And plus with airplanes.
Yeah.
And the transport we have, maybe this is the point where it's not even about the coronavirus, but any virus at this point could spread so fast that we can't have.
Yeah, we are traveling everywhere.
Even if we had less people, it really is airplanes
Yep.
that have changed the game.
It's true.
Now here, we're not at Spanish flu levels,
Right.
and even then they had the first wave and the second wave, and then I think there's like a third wave. But even as bad as it is right now, we're not. It was like what 20 million died of the Spanish flu.
Right, but can you imagine if they had airplanes as normal as it is now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like even
Right.
with airplanes, COVID is nowhere near as bad.
Okay.
But what's strange is that the Spanish flu's mortality rate was less. I think that's why everyone's freaking out.
Okay.
They also didn't have the internet, and there was a war
That's a good
going on.
point.
So
It's a good point.
we might be facing something comparable, but we're better equipped to deal with it.
Right.
Makes
So
sense.
the wartime, a lot of soldiers died, and was it because they strictly were healthy and got this, or were they wounded from battle already, and were
So
susceptible?
I was reading about it. They said that the natural selection was inverted because typically when people get sick, they stay home.
Okay.
Makes it harder to spread.
Makes sense.
But with the war, people who got sick were sent back on trains to go home. And so
Oh.
it spread everything everywhere, made it a
Yeah.
lot worse.
See.
But it did come in a couple waves. So it was like in August, it came back really strong and started hitting younger people, I believe. Or I think it started hitting younger people in the second wave. I don't know what's going to happen with COVID. I can tell you I'm bored and it's frustrating. I mean, we're lucky enough to have a house and a backyard and some, open space. But I can't imagine these people are going to get restless.
Yep.
New York City is going to be a nightmare. Oh, well, it kind of already is. But
It's kind of a time bomb.
Yeah.
could you?
Yeah.
So these stories I'm seeing, like in South Jersey, they arrested a bunch of people for walking around outside.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was a couple people were like seen leaving a house.
Okay.
Someone called the cops on them. The cops rolled up and said, "You guys need to go home." And then apparently one of them said, "F you, I don't need to do anything." So the cops were like, "You're under arrest."
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like-
why though? Why would
They
they?
said
go
like
there?
obstructing government something.
No. I mean, yeah, okay. Why that? Why would they arrest him? But why would you just say that to the cop who's just doing his job?
It's
just
America.
Feels a little.
First Amendment.
Yeah, sure.
Can't get arrested for it, but apparently they'll make it up.
Yeah. Is that not common knowledge now? It's like.
Well,
you're
what do you
kinda
do? Do
asking
you just
for it.
bend the knee and just say, "Yes, I'm sorry, my liege," or do you?
I mean,
I go after yourself. I can do whatever I want.
sure. I don't know. I mean, I went for a walk today. if someone came to me and was like, "Go back home, you're not allowed out," I'd be like, "Okay." I would say, "Okay, my home's that way, even though it's that way," and I'd
Continue
go
your
around,
walk.
go finish my walk.
Yeah.
Like, how are they
Yeah.
gonna know? You know, it's like,
Well, like, what if the cops pulled up and they
Uh-huh.
were like, "Hey, turn around, go home right now."
okay,
You,
Okay.
You turn around.
yeah, whatever. I can still turn the block and keep walking a different direction.
What if
like,
they're following you?
Okay, if they're
You've
following
never had
me,
that happen.
I'd be a
It
little
happens-
creeped out,
it
but
happened
then
all the
I'd
time
walk
in-
home probably.
This stuff happens all the time in Chicago.
Sure, I'd probably walk home.
Yeah, and I've had cops follow me to my house, and then they wait and say, "Go inside,"
What
because
the heck,
Chicago has
dude?
curfew for people under 18.
Interesting.
If you're lucky, that's what they do. If you're unlucky, they pick you up, and then they
Sheesh.
bring you. You know, if they can't get to your house, then I don't know exactly what they do in Chicago, because every time it's happened to me. One time I had to they bring me home, and then someone has to sign for you for breaking curfew.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Like a
if
package.
you're a minor in Chicago, there's curfew.
Still?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty crazy.
But I mean, I would go out and skate in the middle of the night. But like, what do you do? I mean, that I was a teenager, so it's like whatever. But today, I don't have to explain myself to anybody.
Yep.
If I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going to the grocery store. It's none of your business. Bug off. And then what? They're going to arrest you? That's apparently what they did. Someone mouthed off, so they arrested him.
pretty
Yeah,
messed
I
up.
mean, look, it's stupid to mouth off to people. At the same time, you're that's not illegal.
You're right. I agree with you.
Yeah, dude, we're in it, man.
Yeah.
And
know.
the Nightmare Dystopia is so boring. That's
I
what's
know, right?
frustrating, you know?
Yeah.
Can't we at least have like some kind of law resistance, like a real one, not like these weird, scrawny, low T college kids who think they're fighting, Nazis, like an actual,
Man.
like
You want some action? Go to New York.
Yeah, mix
it's not
it up
even,
there,
it's not
yeah.
even,
And you get to New York and there's just nothing there.
yeah, it's just
The streets are empty.
it's the romanticizing of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There is no
Life
fun
is not a movie.
adventure. Yeah.
Life
It's
is
either
not a
boring
movie.
or it's stressful.
Yeah.
I think people think that they're going to be like on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Well, I think the only thing that would cause this kind of post-apocalypse we usually think of is something like someone attacking us on our shores, which we've already established is not going to happen.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Having actually been in places where there are explosions and people shooting at each other, there's this feeling you get watching these action movies where you see like the hero do a backflip, and like land perfectly and then do like roundhouse kick the bad guy who then falls into the meat grinder. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, yeah.
That feeling you get watching these movies doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The excitement of watching the guy, draw the bow and fire at the zombie's head and his head explodes. You're
In
like,
slow
yeah.
motion.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what you really get. You get anxiety and panic attacks.
Right.
You're standing there and then all of a sudden you're shaking and you're like about to throw up because your stomach's clenching because there's people screaming and stabbing each other.
And you haven't eaten in a while.
And right, there's
Yeah,
some people
It's not going to
look-
be people landing on our shores. It's going to be other citizens
just other
that
people.
are hungry that want your food.
Yeah.
Well, no. Like in the event, let's say like someone did land on our shores, like an invading force.
Okay.
All these people who are like, man, it'd be so cool, like like Red Dawn or whatever. They would it would be 5 minutes until their buddy's head got blown off, where they'd be sobbing in the corner, crying, begging for how the world used to be.
yeah.
Good. Yep. I
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
True.
But there are adrenaline junkies, and there's a reason why I skateboard and why I was interested in doing conflict journalism. It doesn't faze me the way it phases like 99.9% of people. And I'll tell you what, man,
Yep.
it's really, really funny. When I did this they call it heat training, hostile environment action or something. I don't know what it's called, but it's called like a heat course.
Okay.
And some of the people that were there, like one was like a weather guy there. Now, there's a reason why a weather guy will be at a hostile environment training course, because hurricanes. It wasn't just about
Yeah, that makes sense.
getting kidnapped.
Because they have to go stand on the beach while it's behind them. They're
And
like,
they're
I'm here reporting.
it's really it's like the lowest tier.
Yeah.
And I swear this guy was so arrogant.
Yeah. Oh,
You
the
thi-
news reporter?
He's a weather
That's
guy.
not surprising, actually.
And I'm sitting there like,
Weird.
listening to this guy talk, and he's like, there's a bunch of women. We're like sitting at a table. It was like lunch.
He's so tough, I bet.
And he's like, listen, here's what you got to do. Like when you're dealing with this stuff. And I'm just like, tell me, weatherman, tell me more about how you respond to when the terrorists are kidnapping you.
Willy Wonka.
And then I was like, I shook my head and I was just like, I started talking about what actually happens. And he's like, you think you know how this stuff goes on? And I was like, dude, first of all, everybody has a different reaction. You don't know. You've never been in these situations. And you have? I was like, yes.
I wish
Yes,
I was a fly on
actually,
the
I
wall now.
have.
Right. Me too.
I swear. There was a really funny thing that happened with this training. They put us in this scenario where we are driving in SUVs to go meet with, like a terror leader or something. It was all, fictional.
Okay.
And then the cars get stopped at a fake checkpoint, and the guys have a bunch of random weapons, and they start yelling. And then our driver, he's part of the training, he's supposed to be a local, a fixer. It's the local who tells you, he says,
Yeah, okay.
oh, it's a government checkpoint. They want everyone to get out of the vehicles. And so, okay, we all get out. They make us all lay on our stomachs. All of the women get brought to a shed where we then hear all the women screaming. And the guys with the guns are all laughing, saying like, there are women now and stuff like that. And then they start going around saying, give us all your valuables. And so then they went up and the guy was like, give me your wallet. And I said, here you go. And they started to walk away. And I was like, oh, sir, you forgot my watch. And he was like, oh yeah, I did forget your watch. And he takes my watch. And the funny thing about it was the watch was a GPS tracker. So after it was over, we went back to the main area, and someone asked, so the trainer guy was like, sometimes these things happen. You'll get stopped. You'll notice that all the guys had different weapons, which means they're likely not government because they don't have standard issue. Mm-hmm. These are things you got to pay attention to, but if you're being stopped by a group of armed individuals, there's not much you can do. And someone said, what about the women who are kidnapped and clearly being abused? Mm-hmm. And he just goes, they're gone. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. And afterwards, one of the guys was there, and I said, I'm just gonna let you go. You guys were wrong about that. And he was like, oh yeah, what do you mean? And I said, well, remember when I said my watch? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that watch is a GPS tracker. As soon as you let us go, I called the State Department, told them how to find it. And he went, really? And I was like, this was back when smartwatches weren't a thing.
Oh, okay.
So it was a 4G watch that looked like a regular watch.
Got him.
Yeah, nice.
Boom. And so I told him, I was like, listen, man, I was like, in the stuff that I've done with my buddies who actually work in like InfoSec and actual OPSEC stuff, we've gone through contingencies for how to deal with legit top tier full tech warfare to the best of our civilian understanding. One of the things was like, they actually said to charge your GPS and bring it with you. And I was like, no. Marie Colvin was a conflict journalist. And what we understand is that the Assad regime was tracking her sat phone, found out where she was, and then started shelling the building.
Oh, geez.
So you don't want to have an active GPS signal they can track and figure out where you are.
Right.
A satellite link.
Okay.
So what we did was, when my buddy went, we gave him a two-way satellite communicator to make sure he had one. You know why? You leave it off, and then once you're compromised, you turn it on and throw it down a hill and run the other direction. You buy yourself some time. They know where you are already. Then they'll chase after the dummy signal.
Oh, okay.
So this is the kind of stuff they don't teach you, but, I'm interested. Anyway, I digress. That was a fun story. I love that.
I love it.
That's a great story. I haven't
Someone
heard
just
that
went, Tim Pool's the Jason Bourne on budget.
Yeah.
On budget.
Yes.
I'm just
That was a good comment.
not even. And I would never consider myself to be an expert. Or within reason, but what I would always tell people, like when this guy's mouthing off about how he's like, here's what you got to do, and I'm like, listen, anybody who tells you they can guarantee you security and safety is lying to you. Yeah. Anybody who's going to tell you here's definitively what you do is lying to you. And I said, we were talking specifically about what to do in the event of a kidnapping, and I said, we did this mock scenario where we're going to interview. It's all basically the same thing. You're going to go interview, this leader. We pull up to the building, and I'm on a hair trigger already because I know the game. And so they say, okay, everybody get out of the cars. We're going inside. And then the guy in front of me was he just out of the Marines. So he was getting a job in security for security contractor. This guy's a Marine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we hear someone yell, and we pop our doors and just both run full speed, slightly zigzagging down through dead ground.
Nice.
We knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we get like 100 yards out. We duck behind some trees and we hear, you guys are dead. You're dead. Come back. And we looked at each other and started laughing. No, we're not.
Like,
we got out.
Literally not dead.
And so we walked back, and one of the training guys was like, you guys died. And we were laughing. We're like, okay, sure. Like, no, we hit dead ground. Like, so dead ground is when the people, you can't shoot.
Right.
So like a hillside.
Okay.
Once you clear a certain amount of space, someone standing up on the hill can't shoot through the hill.
Right.
They have to
Right,
run to
yeah.
the edge and then try and shoot down. So we went straight for dead ground, and then we were gone. But they told us to come back, and he goes, well, if you want to do the training exercise, we'll pretend like you're not dead. And we're like, all right, fine, whatever. And so then they literally told us, do whatever you can to do whatever you want to do. You're being kidnapped. Do whatever you want. Get out of it. Figure it out. And I'm like, you got it, buddy. And so I passed out. and fake threw up. And they started freaking out and canceled the event. They were like, all right, everybody stopped. Like, buddy, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm totally fine. And they were like,
do whatever you want.
What? And I was like, I was faking being sick. And they went, oh, why? And I was like, to make it a burden on the kidnappers to decide whether to take me or leave me.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay, stand back up, get back in line. And I'm like,
So you fooled them twice.
yeah.
So the first time they're like, man,
I shouldn't have been there.
We shouldn't have we could have like told them to do whatever they want, and that before they did what they did, and then we would have told them they were dead.
Right.
So, but this
You fooled them twice.
yeah.
This is what precipitated the guy who's talking about, him knowing what he was doing.
Oh,
and then I
okay.
was explaining why I ran in the first place.
Okay.
And why I feigned being sick. And I said, I can't tell you this would work because you don't necessarily know the mentality of the people who are trying to kidnap you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I can tell you my logic. The first is, if they're going to kidnap you, now as an American, you're actually likely to get rescued. Americans don't. The American government does not negotiate, and they do not pay ransoms. So it's actually, in many circumstances, kidnappers will avoid Americans at all costs.
Interesting.
A lot of these poor guys in these countries, when they kidnap somebody, they're thinking about, can we get cash quick? What happens
cannot.
if you kidnap someone who's Spanish or German? Those governments pay out right away. Boom.
right.
Really? Is that,
Oh, yeah.
Is that true?
Yep. And because of this, they're sought after.
Interesting.
If you're an American, do you know what Americans deliver when you kidnap an American?
Payloads.
A helicopter commando raid kicking your door in
Yeah.
and killing you and your family. So it's not all the time,
Jeez.
but the American government's dead serious about
Yeah.
we're not going to pay and we're going to F you up.
Yeah.
So that's the goal. The goal is to deter. And so that's actually what they advise. They advise to capitulate, do whatever your captors want, because in all likelihood, the American government's going to come in guns a-blazing.
Just be like, just tell them you're American.
But
I'm American.
but there's also,
Next.
Yeah.
however,
yeah.
at this time, we're talking about the expansion of some certain factions in the Middle East that glorify the execution of journalists on purpose.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, what I was basically saying to people is like, listen, live on your feet, die on your knees. I can run, and if these guys are using long guns, they can be extremely accurate with low training. And hey, man, maybe they'll waste the bullet on you. Maybe they'll say it's not worth it. We've already got 15 other people. Let them go. Then when they brought me back and I pretended being sick, people were like, yeah, but then they'll just kill you. I'm like, why?
Maybe.
What do you think they're thinking? Are they thinking this person's having a panic attack? They're sick. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to get sick either.
Or carry them.
I don't want to carry them. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to deal with it. Maybe they'll kill you. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll kill you
everyone,
regardless.
Not everyone has a Lydia to carry your burdens.
That's right.
Right.
That's what I'm for.
So I said, listen, no one's going to tell you. In fact, the people training specifically said, you can't predict these things, but we can maximize your opportunity by preparing you to the best of our abilities. And so I said, my instinct would always be run. Run. Don't give in. Don't bow. If they catch you, they catch you, but run. And if you have to passively resist, do so in the proper way. You don't antagonize them. You just become a burden that they don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. Many people who have survived have just done whatever they're told and just waited out for a couple of years. That may work, and that's what a lot of people have done. It's hard to know. We've also seen people get their heads chopped off. So you've got to decide based on the current circumstances. If it was a 1% chance they're going to film you being lit on fire.
1% chance.
1% chance. That's the saying. It's like there's a 1% chance something could happen. Would you take the odds? So for me, I'm kind of like, I'd rather run. I'd rather run than put a bullet in my back. At least I know I tried. I'm not going to bend the knee to anybody. And if they catch me, you know what? Then I lost. But when they made me feign being sick, I'm like, at least at this point, I can be annoying passively. You don't want the person to get mad at you thinking you're doing it on purpose. But it's reasonable to think that if someone got kidnapped, they'd be panicking, shaking, and getting sick. And then you'd be like, I don't want to deal with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are they going to now? If they're trying to get a ransom from you, or it might be worth the vomit. They might be like, I'm going for $1 million, dude. You can barf all you want. I'll take you. But
Yeah.
at least tried something, I guess. Yeah. I don't know how we got into this,
How
but
did we get
I was
into
thinking
this
that.
topic?
Like,
What?
wait a minute.
We went
Weren't we
down
talking about
a weird turn.
patients getting tested again and getting?
we were talking about
Yeah.
macho meteorologist who thought he was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were talking
Yeah.
about the end of the world.
You're like,
Right.
I got a good
Right.
story for
I got a
this.
great
Yeah, we
story,
were
yes.
talking about how people think they're basically super tough and like
Right.
they know what's going to happen. They know what they're going to do.
Nah.
Nah, man. I would say 99% of people, like, as soon as someone landed on the shores in a U-boat and a bunch of like foreign Russians and Chinese or whatever started swimming the beach, they'd be squealing like pigs and running full speed in the other direction.
It wouldn't be people; it'd be robots.
Oh yeah,
I
you're
don't
probably
know.
right.
I don't know,
If
man.
there's going to be something that storms our shore, like in the future, like it's not going to happen right now, but it'd be if it was in the future, it wouldn't be people, it'd be robots.
How far in the future?
Who knows, man? I mean,
Well, we've seen Boston Dynamics.
That's what they're trying to work on. Like the
Yeah.
military's
Yeah, dude.
studying gamers' minds
It's
that
it's
play StarCraft to see how they work and what works and what is the best way. And they're
Maybe-
turning it into AI. I'm serious.
maybe in 50 years
Mm-hmm.
we will have mass-produced robots like the Boston Dynamics robots.
Yeah.
You know, like right now, I would actually say that not the two-legged one, which is really good.
Yeah.
But you've seen the four, like the horse one.
Yeah, the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, you could mount guns on that, unleash those things.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they'd be brutal.
And they, you know what? We know what Boston Dynamics has done. So you can only imagine what we don't know that the Army has
Yeah,
done.
dude.
It's like, come on.
For all you know, there's some people you've met who are actually
They're studying
robots.
gamers' brains right now to make the AI for the dog
Yeah,
that
dude.
they've got, dude. It's a thing.
But if that's true, then I think we're dealing with cyber war in the future. I don't think it's even going to be like so. So let me ask you, like, what's the point of war?
To take over someone else's property, basically.
Resources.
Yeah,
Or something.
for their resources.
It could be ideological.
All right.
But we're in an age now where you can win a war without even lifting a finger.
Yep.
You can just convince.
Well, you'd have to
someone.
pick up the phone or
Right.
Yeah.
maybe hit a button.
All right. You don't got to pick up a weapon.
Yeah.
Good
The
point.
pen is mightier than the sword. So I was thinking about this. You can what we're seeing with all this like election meddling stuff and like, you know, fake social media and sock puppets. It's more effective to manipulate the public into believing you than it is to actually go and force them to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
you're
it's,
right.
it's actually interesting. I don't know if you've played the new Civilization.
No, I haven't.
So there's a couple ways you can take over cities, and one of them is through cultural pressure. Basically, if your civilization has like massive cultural output, eventually your boundaries will be pushing on another city who will then basically revolt and join you.
Yeah, okay.
So if you successfully convince an entire population that you're better and they should live the way you want to live, they're going to want to be like you as much as they can. And then you can take away the power of that government through cultural export.
I mean, I see parallels with what's going on in China right now because they're trying to convince their citizens that the U.S. dropped it in Wuhan, and that's what happened. And then there's videos of Chinese citizens probably risking death to like send it out. Like, we don't trust the CCP either.
Right.
We're not happy here. We
Well-
can't stand what's going on. We know it came from here.
Take a look at this. I've had a bunch of we had a bunch of people messaging in the chat saying that there was some pro-China YouTuber making videos about me.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to say
that.
the guy's name. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything
Right.
about him. I don't have any issue with him personally, but he's pro-China.
Right.
It makes sense. I'm pro-America,
Yep.
not pro-China. I view China as adversarial to the United States, and I view them as doing really horrible things.
Yep.
I'm sure there are people over there that view America the same way, like they want China to win.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
then you get a pro-Chinese YouTuber who makes videos saying, you know, I'm a conspiracy theorist and I believe crazy things and I think the U.S. is coming for me. Clearly an attempt to manipulate and discredit me.
Yeah.
Because I put out a story where one of the things he said was I read an article where it said U.S. intelligence agencies leak show that China's been lying about the COVID numbers. I read that story. I believed that story. And so he said I was a conspiracy theorist. Because his view is that U.S. media is lying and I shouldn't believe it. And he's pro-China and his viewers are all Chinese. That's the game right now. I'm a useful idiot, I guess, for the United States because I like America, because I want America to win.
Yeah.
So the content I make will be very much, pro-America, and that's bad for America's enemies. So they'll counter it with their own propaganda. But propaganda at this point is way more powerful. If it's almost inverted. If a soldier, like, think about false flags, right? Do you guys know about the Operation Northwoods? This was back in, I think it was the 60s. Where, I'm going to mess this up. And I know a lot of people who are listening probably know what I'm talking about. A guy named like L. Lemnitzer or LL Lemnitzer or something proposed dressing up people like Cuban soldiers and then attacking Florida so that people would hate Cuba. It's called a false flag. And then apparently the whole thing was scrapped. Like, no way, we're not going to do this.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So if a Chinese soldier was seen on camera violating the rights of somebody, that's a negative, that's a negative propaganda for them. It's bad. People will say, I don't want to have anything to do with that.
Right.
If they put out videos where they're like helping children drink water and like saving lives and like building bridges, that's good. So if they actually engaged in war and we filmed a boat crashing on the shores and a bunch of soldiers coming out and, gunning down civilians, it would be a major negative event around the world because of the spread of information. It used to be that war was quiet and no one really knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And because no one knew, the U.S. would be like, our heroic soldiers stopped the evil, and everyone would believe it. Now we have film. We have the events filmed.
Yep.
It was I think in 2014 was the first time we had GoPro footage from both sides of a conflict. There's a camera mounted on a tank and a camera mounted on a few rival infantrymen.
Whoa.
And they filmed both sides and uploaded it.
Wow.
And the news organization found both and put them together like you can watch both sides of the conflict.
Holy cow.
Now, because of the spread of information, you can't get away with these atrocities.
Nope.
Like, there's no way, the U.S. nuked Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There's no way that could happen this time. The whole world would watch in horror and disgust.
Agreed.
But it took a while for people to find out what had
At
happened.
least I really want to believe that.
Theoretically, someone could launch an ICBM and no one would claim responsibility for it.
Yeah.
But then we would be like, the U.S. would be like, we know it came from here, and then everyone on the world would probably know.
Yeah, I feel like propaganda almost is losing its edge, though, because people aren't going for, the classic news sources. They're going to YouTube. They're finding the people like you, for example, that are like, I'm just reading everything and giving you my, view on it. And it's not necessarily this, it's not necessarily this, but this is what I've found. This is the truth that I've found. And people are taking everything more with a grain of salt because it's too obvious that everyone's skewing everything to try to push their biased opinion,
Yeah, but in terms of that's very much like like American politics.
Okay.
If
I am thinking very in America. That's a good point.
Yeah.
if the Democrats, you've got like progressive YouTubers who'll be like, oh, harumph these conservatives, and then you'll have conservative, oh, harumph these, liberals, and then you'll have moderates like, oh, harumph whoever. And that's very internal. But there's no progressive or lefty or Sanders supporter or even social justice activist who has said anything negative to me, as far as I can tell, over my criticisms of China. They don't care.
Okay.
They're focused on internal issues. The person who came out and was mad at me, calling me all these names, was a pro-China YouTuber, apparently like a big personality in China, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the real issue is we do have internal political conflict, but I definitely think our foreign adversaries exploit that and try to make us fight each other more so we can't be focused on fighting them. But now that we have this pandemic, it's been pretty bad because everyone's kind of leaning more towards China bad.
Yep.
For a lot of reasons.
Yep.
Still the media hates Trump so much, and this is really dangerous for us. I think, what I really love about all of the super anti-government conspiracy theorist people is that the government can't even get control over all of this. It's like, you really think the government, in all of its different functions and forms and divisions, is in control enough? If that was the case, then they would get rid of all of the anti-America sentiment, which is rampant and insane.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's Russia, they're smearing us, and they're doing all these things, and it's like, you can't even stop a few 13 hackers in Russia who spent a few $1,000s, and then now everyone's complaining about it. They're not. The U.S. government has got power in a lot of ways, but they are not some all-powerful Illuminati entity twirling their mustaches. I'm sure there's a lot of things they do that would surprise you, and you'd be like, wow, I can't believe they do that. But when you've got adversarial conflict right now, the way it is with like China, you'd think the U.S. government would be like, we need propaganda that's pro-America, and people who are disruptive to America should be stopped.
I don't see.
But they don't do anything like that.
I still can't believe that the media hasn't spread the whole China was bringing in these diseases for the past 5 years. It's
Why
like
isn't that
it's
the number
in a
one story?
Department of Justice report. It's
Right.
like how is the media not reporting on that, spreading that, not spreading it because that it feels like spreading lies, but that's actually a report from the Department of Justice. I don't understand.
You know what ABC News did?
What?
They ran a story claiming that sources say that back in November, they reported to, White House officials that there was this outbreak coming. And then the National Center for Medical Intelligence, I think it's called, said no such report exists. ABC ran with the story anyway because sources say. I don't know who the sources are, why you'd believe them, and you didn't publish any documents, so why should I believe you when the actual people there said that's not true? And China was lying about this in January and only found out in December. Why should I believe that your unnamed sources know better than the actual official who's speaking out? Why should I trust the random nobodies? That's what the media's been doing.
Good point.
It's really bad for America. Unless there's something I don't understand and there's a grand conspiracy, fine, sure, whatever. But right now you've got a media that is damaging the credibility of the U.S. government.
Yep.
That is spreading lies that hurt the ability of the U.S. government to respond to things. Why? You know what? We got serious problems, in terms of international conflict, especially in the South China Sea.
I agree.
And unfortunately, there is no, I'm saying this as a joke. There's no grand, all-American militaristic conspiracy to control everything. It's just, it would be so much more efficient for the U.S. to go after its adversaries if that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to like Hillary Clinton and the Qatar-Turkey pipeline and all that nonsense with Ukraine that was going on, they didn't even do a great job of it. It's not even, it's just, agendas and people and these things change in government. If we had a more efficient authoritarian government, we'd have a much easier time of going up against China like they do against us.
Yeah.
Or containing the coronavirus, if we should believe them, by welding people's doors shut and leaving them to die in their houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that here.
Like,
so you know what?
If we were unified as a country, and it feels like we are unifying.
No. Well,
I think so. I think at the end of this, we're going to be much more together than we were before.
Yeah, possibly.
I think we'll be a lot better about ignoring the media because we'll have watched them lie to us straight, left, right, and center.
I think come November,
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to say it right now. I'll make a bet. I could be absolutely wrong about this.
I'll write this down.
Because it's very early. But I feel like based on everything that's happened so far, come November, especially with Joe Biden, we very well may see a mass majority of this country rally behind Trump and the administration. His poll ratings will skyrocket. I don't know for sure. I know it feels like it's a strong possibility, at least as far as what I've seen, with his polls climbing better than they've ever been. There are a lot of people who really, really hate the guy.
Yeah.
But you've got Bernie Sanders supporters who hate the DNC.
Yep.
You've got Trump supporters who hate the DNC. So already they got a common enemy. Joe Biden is a joke. I don't know what they were thinking.
I agree.
But with the pandemic, as bad as it is, I mean, you see what Chris Hayes said the other day?
No, what did he say?
So they came out and Dr. Fauci and Birx revised their numbers down from 240K to 60K deaths.
Wow.
Or 100, whichever
Like
number you
the
want.
projected numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So without social distancing, they were saying like 2 million or more.
Right.
With social distancing, they were saying 200,000. Now they're saying, based on current numbers, it looks like 60. And Chris Hayes says the most cynical, thing I can see, and I really don't want to believe it, or something like that, is that they fluffed the numbers up higher to anchor everyone to that number, so that when the numbers were lower, people would think they did a good job. Are you insane?
What?
Right. It's like how about the reason the number, like Dr. Birx is the one who made the number up. Are you accusing Dr. Birx and Fauci? Are you accusing these doctors of creating fake numbers so they would look good? They're not even elected officials. They're appointed, as far as I can tell.
And how would that make them look good? It's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrifying.
These people are weirdos. Chris Hayes.
All I can think is that's a significantly smaller number. I'm so thankful.
Thank
you know,
goodness.
Right. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's still horrifying that many people are going to die.
Yeah, it sucks, but 60,000 is way better than 200,000. Like that's the only thing I can think of. It's like, so wait, we're gonna put blame on them because they fluffed the numbers. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
But the main issue is just that there are people who hate the president so much.
Yeah.
They will say these things. But here's what I'm thinking. I don't believe Chris Hayes actually knows or cares. I think he's just trying to say things because that's what he's supposed to say. Here's my tribe. Here's what Trump must be bad.
That's the media for you.
So what happens if we have a really serious catastrophe, like COVID gets worse or something, and then Trump really does do a good job? What's surprising to me is that even after the polls, the majority of polls are coming out in Trump's favor. The response from these people in media is, "This can't be real. I refuse to believe it." And it's like,
impeach him.
right? Well, Alyssa Milano said he should be impeached for news that wasn't even real. And that's another thing too. Like Snopes fact checking the New York Times.
Yeah.
Like maybe we are unifying.
It's a cold day.
Maybe
It
right?
feels
Yeah.
like it. It really does feel like it.
Yeah.
So maybe by November, we might be shocked to see, and I could be absolutely wrong about this. There's so much that could happen from now and then. And that's another thing that really annoys me about you know, these activists will like to go back and look at things you said to make it out of context to make it look like you're stupid.
I know.
Because hindsight is 2020.
That's what bugs me also. You know, it's like people have to know you're allowed to make mistakes. Humans make mistakes and we learn from them. That's why we've been around as long as we have, because we've learned from our mistakes.
Well, it's not even about mistakes either. It's like right now I'm saying, man, I think Trump might have a really high approval rating. And then in a month from now, Trump walks out into Fifth Avenue and shoots somebody.
Yeah.
You know, like that's this famous thing. He was like, I'd walk out to Fifth Avenue.
And then someone's like, well, Tim said that he's got a really good approval rating. He's doing great. And look, he shot a man. It's like,
right.
Yeah, but that was a month.
No one knew that was going to happen.
He shot somebody.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, where are you at now, Tim? You think he's going to get elected? He didn't do that when I said.
Done that yet.
I said, that's why I'm like, based off everything we're seeing now,
yeah.
Is he perfect? Far from it. But the American people are generally approving. Democrats and independents have a higher approval rating of him in his response to the coronavirus. I think depending on how bad this gets and how fast we can pull out of it, I mean, the economy is rebounding. The CDC has already said people who are exposed can start getting back to work. We might recover from this, and people might say Trump was the leader when it happened, and they might rally behind him.
Yep.
I still think you're going to have a very strong contingent of orange man bad types.
Yep.
But
Nonstop.
look, man, look what Joe Rogan said. He'd rather have Trump over Biden.
I'm inclined to agree.
Well, I mean, yeah. Look, people have argued that Trump has dementia and all this stuff, and it's like you're only saying that because he talks weird. That he says weird things like big league, or bigly or whatever it is. I don't know.
I mean, I make up my own words.
Right?
I'm serious. I do all the time. It's fun.
Trump does talk weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's the adjectives he uses and the ways he describes things. It's the best medication. It's very big. It's great. And you're like, I understand, but that's not dementia. That's just him being like an eccentric, strange billionaire. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden says words, but that don't make sentences. And someone posted, I think it was like a Med RX thing about word salad, that when people are in the early stages of dementia, they start saying words, they're real words, but they don't make sense in their sentences.
Well, that reminds me of a certain somebody running for president now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Joe Biden, for
Yep.
those wondering if it wasn't clear enough.
There is no honest person who really believes that guy could be president. I am flabbergasted by these Democrats who are like, yeah, hoo-hoo, Joe Biden. Why?
Yeah. Why?
Just give what are his policy positions?
Wow. Joe doesn't know.
Joe doesn't know.
He really doesn't.
Did you see what Tucker Carlson said the other day?
Yeah.
No, what did he say?
He said, here's some serious questions that need to be asked. Could Joe Biden find his car in a 3-tiered parking lot? Could he navigate a salad bar? Like,
No.
I mean,
The fact that we're asking these questions
Yeah,
is a
well,
problem.
yep.
well, listen,
Yep.
the salad bar thing was silly.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the 3-tiered parking garage isn't.
No, it's not. You're right.
Like, come on. We walk out of the store and we're like, oh, man, where do we park? And then it takes a quick second, like, there we are.
Yeah,
Joe.
It's like, yeah, I want to think that it's a joke, but the fact that it's actually serious is like,
Yeah.
ooh, come on,
Yeah.
Joe.
Come on, Joe.
Joe.
Go retire.
Here's what's
Retire, man.
for sure. But on Twitter, and Twitter isn't real life, the progressives, this is the crazy thing. Like, I'm looking at mainstream blue checky journalists tweeting, don't vote for Trump or Biden. That to me was
What's the difference?
no, they're saying don't vote.
Why?
I mean, like, you could vote third party for sure. And I respect people who vote outside of two party because I think voting on principle is the most important thing. I'd rather vote third party even if I thought I was going to lose because I knew I stood on my principles. But telling people not to vote because you're mad Bernie lost, okay, Trump's going to landslide.
Yeah.
For real, man. I don't want to act like literally every American is going to wear a Trump hat and go around singing. I think we're going to see a lot of Democrats and independents being like, yeah, I'll vote for the guy. I don't like him, though. And I think we're going to end up seeing Trump win. It might be like Nixon in his reelection or Reagan when they got like 500 electoral votes. I don't know, though. I really hate saying things like this because I hate saying them, but I do love to go back, like
And
hindsight.
see that you were right.
Yeah, like my video where I'm like, Republicans are going to sweep the House in 2018. The Democrats are going to lose. And the next day I'm like, well, about that.
Well,
Nope.
I was
That
wrong.
didn't
I was
happen.
wrong about that one. Way off.
Well, it's good to admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's
A
why I
lot
don't
of
like
people
making
need to-
predictions.
need to have that ability.
I can't see the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we can move on and begin talking about, I don't know, what is it? Like how the coronavirus is bringing out toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about
So
that.
it's,
That's
Let's
Uh,
talk about that more.
Yeah,
Yay.
Coronavirus reveals just how deep macho stereotypes run through society. Oh, I love it. And then we have this one from Vox. Why are fewer women dying of the coronavirus?
Oh.
Thank you, Vox, for now coming out and explaining to us that biological sex is an important factor, particularly in healthcare,
And
which I've been
is a
saying for
real
long
thing.
time.
It is a real thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They finally
I
admit it.
don't want to pretend like Vox is the worst of
They're
all
not
these
the
organizations that come out and straight up say there's no such thing as biological sex,
Okay.
which like we've heard, but still, because I've done a series of videos critiquing Vox for their very, very pro intersectional view of gender and sex and all that stuff. But before we do, let's move over to the super chats to
Yeah.
everybody who's been patiently waiting for us
Thank
to
you,
read your comments.
guys.
What up, everybody?
The first thing you got to do is hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow our social media accounts. We're on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff.
Yep.
And hop in the super chat if you haven't already, because now we are going to read comments. All right. Ultimate Power says, if they bury all the bodies, then what will we eat? More importantly, when the apocalypse comes, I know what island when the zombie apocalypse comes, I don't know which island I'm going to avoid.
Yep.
Heart Island?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
assuming the zombies can't swim, is that too insensitive? I don't care if my jokes are offensive. I'm not like Ellen.
Yeah,
Good
but
question.
see, we're used to the zombies that are portrayed in the movies.
Yeah.
Who knows? Zombies aren't going to be like superhumans.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
without brains, they will ignore
Pain,
fear,
injury, all sorts of stuff.
pain.
But they're not gonna. They need oxygen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, are they going to be the infected kind of zombies or like the undead?
Yeah, who
Because
knows?
like the mystical paranormal ones.
Mm-hmm.
What movie was it where they like walk on the ocean floor?
Oh,
And-
that was Pirates of the Caribbean, wasn't it?
No. That was like 28 weeks later, I think.
Is that the second one?
Yeah, and they have like
I didn't see the
Manhattan
second
is like, or some island
I
is
saw the first one. The first one was
secure,
good.
but then the zombies go on the water and then or whatever. So if we're talking about infection, like disease, like rabbit or whatever,
Okay.
they need air. No
Yeah.
air. But if it's supernatural where they're just animate,
They're the true undead.
yeah, then they can just float and be
Do
alive
whatever
forever.
they want. Yeah.
But if we like the realistic ones are the scarier ones, because
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
ones like that's never gonna happen. But we'll see. Professor Romandev says, mass graves. Did communism come early? Well, we are awfully close, it would seem.
Indeed.
Brian M put an F in the super chat. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maddie Bone says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. When life gives you Don lemons, make a donation to Timcast. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Nice.
Joey Klein says, 2 a.m. in the Netherlands here. I love the work you all do. Went to the doctors today with all symptoms for COVID, but they only test the hospital cases.
Oh, man.
Bummer.
Oh, well, stay
safe.
healthy, yo.
Yeah.
Andrew Platt says, do you think Joe Biden would pick Michelle as VP in hopes for Obama's endorsement?
Ooh.
Yes, but I don't know if Michelle would attach your name to that failing ticket.
Yes, exactly my thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
Wolfsbane says, tried to explain the mutual fund fake news to a few friends on Facebook. Insinuated that I was defending him and me not just calling out media bias. Can't win them all, I suppose. That's exactly how I see it. JP says, men aren't women, though. Well, now you
Yeah,
will
we're
be
getting
banned
into
from
it.
YouTube because that is bigotry. Eric says, in Ontario, Canada, female 3101, male 2623 infected. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. That's kind of backwards.
Thunder says, Tim, this is serious. New report from Epoch Times with real news. This is not the flu. Think seriously about whether you want to publish after you see the report. If you want, I'll put the video link in chat. Interesting. Holly Movie Star says, need segment on Black Egyptian sarcophagus that people warned ancient curse would be unleashed on world if it was opened in 2018. It was still opened.
Of
I
course
saw that.
it was.
I did see
For
that.
real?
Actually. Yeah.
We should definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
man.
talk about it.
Yeah, Phil A says 4 weeks into socialism and Bernie bailed out. you see, we had the free trial of socialism and what Bernie couldn't do it?
Yeah, nobody liked it.
No.
That's funny.
S-Head says apparently China has a secret Mars mission that may launch in July. Cue the conspiracy theories. Andrew says, what are you talking about with a plague being unearthed in the Arctic is actually the plot of a book series called After It Happened. Well, right. Yeah, it's the plot of many different articles and fictional stories. Like they drill into the ice caps to try and, see what the air was like back then, and they unleash a virus.
Yep.
Yeah, and then didn't I just watch him? Wait. There was some movie I watched where they did this and the guy turns into a vampire or something. And that's
Really?
like, yeah, I can't remember what movie that was.
I don't know.
Oh, there was that TV show. You know I'm talking about? It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like Arctic research and they unearth the like vampirism. And then the guy turns into a vampire.
No
And
idea.
then, yeah.
It might have been one of those short Shutter movies.
No. It's a
No?
series on Netflix, like 13 episodes. That wasn't bad. It was pretty good, actually. It was
Okay.
fun.
I think I saw
Yeah.
that one.
Cool.
Student of History says, in regards to your first video today, does Wapo think the weird turtle man is Corn the Blood God? Also, 300K plus cases, healthy worldwide for some good news. Yeah, Washington Post wrote an article. It was amazing. It said, sitting on his throne of skulls, Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell confirms
Yeah,
8,999th
that's that one we
judge.
were looking at yesterday.
What is it? The whole article was nuts. It was the sky was gray and the buildings had collapsed. A man crawling on all fours reaches up at Mitch McConnell and says, "Why?" Perhaps it was Chuck Grassley. Like, what are you writing? What are they trying to insinuate? I couldn't tell if it was pro Mitch McConnell or anti Mitch McConnell.
Sounds pretty pro Mitch McConnell.
Yeah,
to me.
seriously. Making
cool.
him look like yeah, somebody posted a picture of him sitting on a throne with like fire in the sky. And it's like, this guy looks like a turtle and sounds like one too. And you're trying to make him seem like this overlord on a throne of skulls. Like,
That's amazing.
I don't know what their point was. Super Bam Bam says, Tim, don't pick on the quiet kid. It's don't pick on the quiet kid in class, among other sayings. Hydro says, hey Tim, Adam, and Lydia, you guys making the homie cozy on this rainy LA day. Numbers here aren't so bad, and hopefully we keep inside. Stay safe.
Yeah, man.
Will do.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Joseph says, positive news. I build equipment for airlines. No new orders for a month due to COVID. We just got a bunch of new orders this week. Few $1 million revenue. Shows confidence in the administration and potential economy upswing. And I would also bet
It's good news.
if these companies are starting to put in orders, they probably know something we don't.
Yeah, I bet they do.
They probably got someone in the administration saying, heads up, get ready for this time. We're going to be moving forward. So they don't want the public to panic. But privately, they can probably give people a heads up. Brian says, all my friends told me you should watch Tim Pool. You guys would be best friends. Now that I hate them because I can't stop watching. Thanks. Hey, I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
NGO, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you.
Mine Milek says, you recently talked about how one could increase your testosterone level. You said the trick was working out. The real key is diet and sleep. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
All three things.
Or
Yeah.
apparently, Frank Thomas tells me there's something called Nugenics.
Oh, cool.
Have you seen those commercials? Yeah, it's like, there's tons of commercials where he's just like, if you're a man over 50, you got to take this pill. GNC proves it.
Yeah.
And now they have one where like a bunch of other like former athletes are like a pro football player and they're all
Wait, let me guess. Shaq? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
He's
no,
in
not
everything, though.
Shaq is? No, he's in the general commercials for that fly-by-night car
He's
insurance.
in a bunch,
he's
yeah.
that's what was the joke. I was just
Yeah,
making
yeah.
a joke.
Yeah.
Not him, though. He's not quite old enough, I don't think.
Jean McLeod says, Tom, saw you on Crowder and think you are the most handsome man. Must be the Japanese in you. P.S. I am a chick. Appreciate it. And that's actually true. I am part Japanese.
Oh, I was gonna say. Oh, you're attractive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Indeed. No, because I often just say that I'm a quarter Korean, but I'm actually 5% Japanese.
I did not know your name was
Oh.
Tom.
Yes. Well, I am also Tom.
Tim Tom?
Tom Pool.
Tom Pool. Cord Funk says, I'm more afraid of some pathogen being released from the ice melting than the sea level rising and extreme weather.
Or a combination of the two, because
Yeah.
the ice melting will be washed around by the rising ocean.
Yep. Some ice chunk will break off and then drift around.
I mean, it already
Land
happened
in New York?
It already happened.
big ice chunk?
Anthrax. We talked about this the other day.
It
Remember?
released from the ice.
Yeah, the Arctic drilling. They found an anthrax pocket basically, and it
Whoa.
started killing a bunch of people. And they were like, "Oh wow, that was that was stuck down there."
What if that's what the curses were? Like someone mentioned the sarcophagus. What if they like put some kind of like virus or contaminant in it?
Or
Wasn't it-
contained it finally. And
Yeah, right. We've captured it.
And like, let's paint it black because no one will ever open it then.
You know what bugs me?
Cue humans now.
Yes.
Why? I would prefer it if they actually captured the demon, blood god in the sarcophagus and released him. Because it's always so boring. It's like they thought the flu was a demon possessing you. And then they wrote books about all this crazy cool stuff we never see. And we're like, oh man, vampires. And it's like, actually the vampire was a guy who had an iron deficiency. And so he looked very gaunt and pale. And it's like, oh.
Boring.
Yeah, they're in the hospital. We see those people
Fine.
all the time.
Yeah.
They're not vampires.
Now we know everything.
Right. Yeah.
If only we can go back to a time where we don't know anything. Well,
I mean,
I don't want to
I
make
don't
this
wanna-
joke.
Have
I'm not going to continue.
Have you
Do it.
seen
I'm
or
not
read
doing it.
Watchmen?
I
when-
have, yeah.
when-
I haven't read it. I saw the movie though.
At the end, when Dr. Manhattan says to Ozymandias, he's like, it's the first time in a long time I didn't know it was going to happen. He's like, I want to thank you because, I've actually got to experience some not knowing. Yep. iGuy says, CA has been changing the locks on churches. In Lodi, they shut down a service and changed the lock on the pastor. Newsom is really pushing it. Yeah, that's a violation of the Constitution.
And yet, at the same time, like I'm reading about all these different countries, the epicenter of the reason it's so bad is all these church conventions. In France, it wasn't the Smurf.
It wasn't
thing.
the Smurfs.
Well, that did play a part in it, but it was this 2,000, 3,000 person church convention that they had, and then in South Korea, I think it's the same thing, and they shutting these churches down because people kept going. And like even still, you see these pastors are like, I'm blowing the coronavirus away with God's wind, and it's like that doesn't work. Like, you're going.
Well,
that's not doing anything.
The worst.
Exactly.
There's actually a bunch of some religious websites that are really pissed off about this because one of the biggest
that they're
holding
saying that they're gonna blow the
no,
virus out.
Just that they're having these events.
Right. Okay.
Because like the bigger thing I'm seeing, like on Twitter, I see this from a lot of religious people saying that they've innovated to the best of their abilities to maintain services, communion while social distancing, to respect our responsibility to society. And then you get these more, I don't necessarily want to say they're all crazy, but some of them are, and they make everybody look bad. And then, of course, you'll end up with many people on the left latching onto that to try and claim that everybody who's religious is causing the problem.
Right.
When it's like, dude, the Smurf people contributed. Is it as bad as it could be based on some of these, more kooky pastors?
Yeah.
Maybe not. But when you actually seek out what's really going on with churches, I watched a video, I think it was even from like a mainstream news, like BuzzFeed or something, where a priest was outside and they kept 6 feet and you could come up by yourself and receive communion. And it was like a very structured kind of
drive-through thing.
Right,
Yeah, it was
exactly.
neat.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to like, listen, we're not crazy. We understand there's a virus.
Yeah.
But we're going to do, the services the best of our abilities.
Or webcam it. I don't know.
Yeah, they
And
live
then
stream
it
a
just
lot.
takes one crazy dude to be like, ain't
I
nobody
know.
going to get me down.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the Easter Sunday thing with the militia?
No.
The Bundys, the Ammon Bundy, I think his name is,
Okay.
said that they are going to have Easter worship and no one's going to stop them. And they will defend it with physical force if they have to.
Where's that?
Idaho.
Okay.
Idaho's got it decently bad, and it's a tough question. A lot of people, I see a lot of people say, oh, just follow the law if the law is passed and everything like that. It's like, if the government just starts trampling all over the Constitution, do we just say, okay, well, I guess the Constitution's gone?
No.
Or do we have to
Yeah.
defend our rights
Time
and say
for
you can't
civil
do it?
disobedience.
Yeah. Yep. It's tough, though, because the biggest challenge is, do you trust the government? When the government, right? But if the government comes out,
Sorry, that cracked me up.
I guess we got your answer.
Yeah.
If-
no,
if-
no
if-
way. Yeah.
if the government comes out and says there's a plague, are you going to be like liar, or are you going to be like, I better stay inside?
Oh.
I do believe them because, as far as I know, that's how I know there's a pandemic, not necessarily a plague, but
Right.
it's like we're getting our information from the governments.
And what happens if in a month from now it's completely gone and cleared up, but they keep saying, nope, it's there. Look at these numbers. Do you just go, okay? It's hard to know.
I don't know. You're right.
Because we want to be trusting. It's one thing if the government was like, we've arbitrarily decided that you all must stay in your houses. We'd be like, no. But when they're like, please stay in your house, there's a pandemic and
We're
people
like,
are
oh,
dying.
okay.
Then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And just like that, we all agree with it.
Good thing Final Fantasy VII Remake's coming out tonight because that'll be
It's
good.
gonna make
Yeah,
it.
just plug in and disappear.
That's right.
All right. Let's see. Where are we at? Alex says, today feels like a 90s game throwback. Mitch McConnell is a half Doom guy, half Duke Nukem, and the victor of Ragnarok. Adam gave hope in dire times with Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
Boom. Padre says, thank you for the late afternoon entertainment. Pim and Soybeanie. Lydia Yemen. Soybeanie.
That's good.
that.
Soy beanie.
Luke Wood says, meat lovers pizza for the win. Keep up the good work. Oh, yeah. We had deep dish the other day. It was totally worth it.
Man.
There's actually a vegan meat lovers pizza. It's really good.
Really?
Yeah, it's got
All the
different
different kinds of-
types of sausage on it.
Yeah.
It's like a
vegan
contradiction.
sausage. But
Yeah.
And it's funny because people like to say soy all the time, but I'm pretty sure they use seitan more than anything else, right?
yeah,
Or
which
wh-
is good stuff though. It's
Yeah.
wheat gluten.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I might be vegan, but hey, I enjoy meat. I like the taste of hemoglobin. That's why Beyond Meat spent a lot of money trying to mimic the taste of blood with plants.
Yeah.
And man, I live in a wonderful age where I get to actually eat plants that taste like blood.
Yeah, man.
Vampiric. Riley says, Tim, thanks for what you do. I listen to your content daily. This donation is a protest against the mainstream media. A conservative Navajo army officer.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Very much so.
Right on.
Rodo says, bacon. I agree. I agree. Chrism says, Tim, when you going to watch Gandahar or Wizards? Can you write it down, I guess?
I'll write it down.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
It's written
Maybe
down.
tonight. RJ, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you.
I write Tim and Adam fanfic. Ooh.
Oh, no.
That's the name.
Adam Sama, Tim said, blushing. Yes, Tim Chan, Adam replied. We mustn't. But we must. Adam reached under Tim's beanie and began to massage his dome. He gripped Tip's beanie and pulled it off. That was totally worth the $10. I should pay you for writing that.
I want to pay this person.
That was amazing. Thank you for that.
This is not necessarily fan fiction, though. This is something else. I forgot what it's called.
Oh,
South Park
funny.
did an episode about it where all the girls were writing like gay lover fiction about the boys.
I think technically it is called fanfic.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're different kinds, but yeah. Ugh,
All right.
Spicy.
That was the best segment yet. Redbeard says, company I work for just started doing furniture delivery again to VA and OBX area. Full week of deliveries this week and next week.
Yes.
Nice.
Looks like we're back on.
That's
Feels
awesome.
good.
Looks like we're back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's because I think the CDC was saying if you've been sick or exposed, you're good to get back to work. So I think first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Best Buy and just walk around and be like,
I'll take one of those.
electronics.
I'll take one of those, and then I'll return everything. See you later.
because I'm bored.
Yes.
Siba Bam Bam says, did you see the story on Fox News about the Georgia bar that removed close to $4,000 worth of dollars stapled to the inside as decoration and donating it to staff? I did see
Whoa,
that.
that's
Yeah, the
cool.
money on the wall. Yeah, crazy.
Oh,
Awesome.
Neat.
That's cool.
Kate Bell says, never in a million years never in a million years would have thought I would be trusting and have more faith in a skateboarding kid to comment on news stories than the MSM. To be fair, I am 34 years old.
Yeah.
And I worked for a bunch of news organizations.
Carry it well.
and,
But the
you know.
skateboarding part, very accurate.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, though. We look at kids like on scooters or rollerblades, and you don't see that in your generation. You see it in kids. And so those are the kids to you. When you're older, they're still the kids, but now they're adults and they're like running businesses, you know?
Yeah, right. The millennials aren't the youngins to blame for things anymore.
I think that was a Family Guy joke. Someone was like, mentions millennials, and then I think Lois goes like, I don't know, millennials, aren't they 40? Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
We are for our
40.
sins.
Well, the oldest,
Almost.
Yeah.
the elder millennials.
Elder millennials are just getting
Well,
close
it used
to
to be like 83, 84. Now it's been pushed back to 80, I guess.
There's different scales.
I don't know.
Like it depends on what you Google.
I liked when it was 83, 84 because that means I'm like the eldest millennial.
But I mean, generations don't even necessarily make sense because it's
They're
not
so
like everyone's
fluid.
born the same year.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so then they're talking about like Xennials, Exials. They're people who were born in like 81, 82. They're
Well-
almost Gen Xers. It's
Yeah,
like,
well, like the baby boomers was like a long span, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now we're just like so obsessed with naming everything that we're like coming
Right.
up with all the different things for whatever. It's like, you know what? In 30 years, no one's going to remember all of these crazy names we're
Yeah.
coming up with.
Right.
It's good. They're going to come up with something for this generation, probably the crazy generation. Man, people were crazy back then. Go ahead.
All right.
all right, I am going to start speeding up, so I apologize for the
Go.
super chats I cannot get to, but we do have too many. MH Kevy, thanks for becoming a member. Kevin, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you both.
Lucifer says, so let's aim for space colonization. Absolutely. Nathan says, a preacher estimated all the begat children to be about 7 billion people on Earth before the Great Flood in the Bible. There is 7.8 billion. Maybe God is telling us something. Maybe it will be, we got locusts in Egypt.
Yeah.
We got earthquake in Idaho.
Someone
Now-
said that without the Tower of Babylon, is that what it is?
The Tower of Babel?
And that's not here yet, so we're good.
Really?
I don't know anything about it actually, but
Where-
I remember someone super chatted us. They were like, "No, we're good. The tower has not been seen yet."
Can I donate to start that project? where
Start building it.
Yeah, let's get going, man. It's the waiting I can't stand. Where is it supposed to be? Like
just
Somewhere
get
in
it
the
over
Middle
with.
East.
ancient Sumeria?
Yeah.
Where's that now? Iraq?
Oh man.
Yeah, Iraq and Iran,
Yeah.
probably.
Well then,
Let's get that going.
America Float says zinc and chloroquine is the cure, homies. Say no to this global vaccine push. Son Cormac says, Brighton, Colorado. Arrest father with his daughter in the park. Abuse of power with social distancing. Oh, I did a video about this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they ended up letting him go.
Cops apologized. Yeah.
Some Call Me Casey says, halfway to seeing Snake Plissken walking around town. I don't know what that is.
Same.
Pink says, demographers say world population will stop growing by 2100 and it will go down from there forever. Today, 30 countries have more dying than being born. It's mostly prosperous countries.
Yep.
New York, I believe in 2017 had 4 births and
4
per day.
Oh, per day.
Okay, I was like 4? Whoa,
And
it's
8
the end.
I was like, dang,
No,
that's nothing. 4?
Yeah.
4
No,
per day. Okay. That
No,
still
no.
seems a little
My numbers are way wrong.
Oh.
I think what I was actually looking at, it was like for every 2 deaths, there was 1 birth.
Okay.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like
Not
they're
enough.
So
definitely
the population was declining.
definitely going down.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I could be wrong. Maybe I read that wrong. It
I
didn't seem
heard
right.
that that's kind of like a general
Trend.
thing around
Totally.
the globe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
It is
only
prosperous
in
countries.
rich countries
Yeah.
where people are perpetual children.
Where
Yeah.
women are given an option. They don't have to. It's true.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and
What about Sweden?
and
they're-
like
They're on
child
the decline.
child deaths are
Are they?
probably much more
Yeah, you're
prevalent
right.
in those third world countries
Exactly.
too.
So they'll
So
have
yeah.
like 8 or 10 kids.
right, and only
4 will
2,
survive.
4, yeah.
Still more
Well,
than
then you know what? Maybe we'll never make it to Mars.
Yeah, who knows?
Student of History says,
I think we
Timbo
will.
Slice, the international man of mystery. You know it. Uncle Bubba says, you need to make T-shirts that read, harumph, I say. Well, I mean, it's just a general joke, but, perhaps. All right, let's see. Super Chat just did one of those wonderful jumps.
The jumps.
Brian Telford says, I have never voted Republican in my life. After the impeachment sham and the corona fear from the news, I am voting for Trump. I may never vote Democrat again, he says. Wow.
Wow.
Democrats are doing it to themselves.
Strong.
They totally are.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Jamie, thanks for the super chat. KX says, my elderly gay former meth dealing front desk secretary watches your vids every day on loudspeaker in our apartment lobby all day long, every day for a year and a half straight. Your #1 fan. Wow,
Oh,
they sound
man.
awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Nice.
it. Swampy says, World Health Organization talked about people being out of their homes. YouTube updates their terms. Says no videos about people in distress. Next to it says people being forcibly removed from their location.
Whoa.
What?
I gotta look
No
that up.
way.
Is that true?
Here we go.
I would be inclined to
It's probably
believe
about
it.
China.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Scott says, check out the Brown Mountain Lights in NC. Bunch of videos and some scientific investigations. Ooh, will do. Very cool. Clint Flippo says, is anyone looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Remake?
This guy right here.
No one that I know of.
I am
Nobody.
very excited. It's already downloaded. It's on my PlayStation upstairs. I cannot wait.
He has been
That's
talking
all I'm
about
thinking
it.
about right now. I just want to play it.
So as soon as
For
the clock strikes.
22 years. Final Fantasy VII came out 23 years ago, 1997. And I got it. I was waiting to get that game. And I played it, and I was like, this is amazing. And all my friends were like, this is amazing. And then I just played it for like a year straight. And then I said, man, wouldn't it be amazing if they remade it? I played the rest of them, actually. I really like Final Fantasy. But
They did remake it.
this game,
You're close.
they listened.
Only
So close.
about 2 hours and 43 minutes.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Oh, man.
I can't wait.
Damian Maddox says the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have shut down all services worldwide until this blows over. We've prepped for this. We'll all be fine and get through this if we just sit at home. It's that easy.
Good point.
Morph1 says, hey, Tim, perhaps you can get in touch with Rogan and do a half and half cast. Either way, you would be his best guest all month. Hey, Lydia, give us a cameo if you're up for it. I think I speak for all of us. We'll figure out the camera stuff. We
Yeah.
keep saying it, but I think it's just that we all kind of work a lot.
Yeah.
Adam's going to be very, very busy working on that Final Fantasy VII, so he's
Yes.
going to have no time
Important
for this.
work.
Yeah, I've got
Very
no
important.
time for at least a month.
Too much work.
Yeah, man.
Russ says, I'm paying you to call out the lies of the mainstream media. Thanks, Tim. Oh, you don't need to pay me to do it. I do it because I can't stand these people.
Drives me crazy.
Oh, man. I want to say something, but I can't say it. But I will just say this. I have received messages from some of these mainstream journalists.
Oh, really?
Oh, and they're such crybabies. Such crybabies.
I know who you're thinking of.
Because I know most of them. And they always try to justify their ridiculous positions.
After they hear how you rip them apart,
Right.
Then they're like, "Well, wait, I got to explain myself
I
to
think
you."
I think it's because they feel like embarrassed.
They should.
You know,
Thank you.
Yeah, they
so
should,
they'll-
right?
so look, I used to work for these companies, in New York. I know a lot of these people, and some of the stuff they write, they know is total BS.
Yep, but
Yeah.
they
And then
know
when-
it'll get the clicks.
And then when I make videos and I'm like, look at this, I'll get a message where it's like, look, I'm just saying, I think, and I'm like, no, 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 no,
Whatever you
It's
say
just-
right now doesn't matter.
It's
It
too
doesn't
late.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
Dude.
Yeah.
You're full of it. You're full of it, and you're trying to justify your position. You're trying to like squeeze in some excuse so you can sleep well at night because you're not a journalist anymore. I feel bad. Some of these people got into this thinking like, I really want to go down there and report on like real issues of police brutality and civil rights and liberties and free speech. And now they're in their, New York office writing about Brad Pitt's junk and like the social justice implication of the white male gaze. And then I'm like, that's not real. And they're like, well, you got to understand. I'm like, no, I don't got to understand anything, dude. You used to write about protests and civil liberties and freedom, and now you write about stupid ideological dogma.
Yep.
And they get all mad, like, well, you're not even a journalist anymore. And I'm like, I don't care. I didn't say I was.
Well, you wear a beanie all the time. It's like, great.
You're the one
Yeah.
who started this
You just
conversation.
stooped there.
No,
Yeah.
but typically the stuff they send me is like, it's not even an argument. It's just emotional venting where they're like, it's like, oh, you think you're so big that you're gonna talk about what I'm doing. Fine, whatever. It's stuff like that, and I'm
It's
like,
like, well, I
Alright,
talk
bro.
about what everyone's doing. So
Yeah.
I've reached
you're
out.
not special.
I've reached out to like, some of these top, like I'll just say, like, I've reached out to Ben Smith, formerly of BuzzFeed, when BuzzFeed's written fake news, and they won't correct it. They don't care. They know, and they're like, well, good enough for us.
I know, but it
Like,
gets
you know
good
what, man?
hits, so we're just gonna leave it.
Well, listen, it's like I said the other day. You write fake news, you get 1 million views. The next day you correct it, you get 30,000 views. Either way, you already made the money.
Yep.
Like so it's probably factored into their business model. I wouldn't be surprised if these editor-in-chiefs or like the people running the business are actually projecting out like, we've allotted for 2 fake news stories with a correction every month. Can you pull it off? Think about it. Like, you've seen all the prank videos on YouTube, right? Have you seen those videos, the pranks?
Yeah.
I had a friend who was adamant. There was a video he made me watch where a guy went around saying, hey, my neighbor, to people really fast. Hey, my neighbor. And he would go into a black neighborhood and go, what's up, my neighbor? And then the people would be like, yo, what did you say to me? And they'd be like, what? What's your problem? And then you get into a fight. And he would be like, my friend's showing me this, like, dude, you got to see what these people are doing. And I'm like, bro, that's all fake.
Yeah.
And he was like, no way, dude, it's real. And I was like, are you kidding me, man? Look,
Yeah.
I grew up in a mixed area on the south side of Chicago. Do you know what would happen if you walked up to somebody on the street and was like, what up, my neighbor? They go like this, they go, so. And they keep walking.
Right.
You could literally call them a slur. And you know what they would do? They'd be like, what? And they'd walk away. They wouldn't just get in your face, start swinging at you. These are all
there's
fake.
there's a slim percentage that probably would, but that's not. Yeah, it's all
It's
all
fake.
fake though.
Normal. Yeah.
Turns out now we know they're fake because new policy updates say if you don't label this, so like if you put up a prank video
Okay.
and it shows people getting hurt, then it'll get removed from most platforms. So
Oh,
now
okay.
you'll see prank people putting disclaimers in saying like these are all performers, it's all fake, which really ruins what the video
Kinda
is
ruins
supposed to
everything.
be. Yeah.
Good.
So here's what I
Yeah.
tell people. Do you think that these news organizations don't know if they write fake news, they'll get clicks? They all know it.
They know it.
And they know there's a certain boundary they can push upon to where they'll still be considered credible because sometimes, we make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if you go to one of these offices and they're like, where are we at in views? So here's how it works. They'll sell a certain amount of views. So without calling out anyone individually, they'll like tell a company, we will guarantee you 500,000 views for X amount of dollars. And it takes as long as they need to get those views. So it might be a day with one article getting 500,000 views.
Yeah.
It might be a month because you're only getting a few thousand per article, but they guarantee you the views over whatever period of time. Near the end of the month, they might be saying, we won't be able to renew this contract because we haven't completed the view delivery. What can we do?
Boom. Fake news.
Can you write a story about Hillary Clinton running in 2020? Yes. Okay, boom. There's our 1 million views. We're good to go.
Yep.
Now, can you put out an apology and retract it? Yep. Sources say, look, man, the people who run the businesses don't care about ethics. They care about getting their deliverables to, their clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying I've personally witnessed this kind of thing. I'm just saying consider it when you're talking about money. Journalists might have scruples. The business people are like, look, I'm just trying to sell eyeballs, man. So write the story, say Clinton's running, we'll apologize tomorrow, we'll get 1 million hits.
Yep.
Now, obviously, no one's ever written that she is running, but you can see it in some of the stories they do.
I did make a joke that once Biden said that actually before Biden announced that he was going to pick a girl as his running mate, I always said, like, man, he's going to pick Hillary and croak.
Yeah, I don't think he'll pick Hillary.
No, I
think he'll
it's
croak,
just a
though.
Funny.
Yeah. I do
Ouch.
think he will croak.
I'm not trying to be
Ooh,
mean.
I
I'm
know,
not
no,
Whether
trying to
he
be mean.
picks Hillary or not.
Whoever it is.
Listen, I mean this sincerely, and I do not mean this
It's the job that's killing him.
I don't think he's doing anything. I think he's sleeping all day.
Really?
And they got a few minutes per
They
day
rouse
where
him before the
Yeah.
makeup powder his face real quick.
Yep.
Get out there. Go say something.
I wouldn't be surprised if Biden's got a good 20 minutes per day,
yeah.
you know,
Of awake time?
of like alertness, of lucidity. And so they do all the work for him, get him ready, prop him up, put the sunglasses on, and put the
Yeah.
marionette strings on his arms.
It's like, because it's too late. It's too late to rally anyone else against Bernie. It's kind of
No,
like.
they did it on purpose, and I don't know why. Like we were reading the
don't get it
story
either.
earlier where all of these different Democratic people running like Buttigieg and Klobuchar outraised Joe Biden. So Joe Biden wasn't even raising money, yet they still propped him up to win.
Yeah, they did.
Bernie Sanders raised $100 million more than Joe Biden. Look, I don't care if you like or dislike Bernie Sanders. He was the choice.
Yeah, he was.
As far as anyone who's active in politics on the Democrat side was concerned. I think it's fair to say maybe there's just a bunch of Biden supporters are passive and not paying attention. I have no
Maybe.
idea.
I don't know.
But it does not seem to make sense that
oh, politics.
Joe Biden had no grassroots support,
Yeah.
but he still got it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right, let's read some more of these super chats. Juan Machado says, "Does that globe a 9 dash on the South China Sea? Does it have a dash? It doesn't. I'm looking at it right now, and it doesn't.
No?
It was not made in China." Justin Wright says the freight situation is not so clear. Hard to find loads in the 500-mile range. My company can find work moving out of Wisconsin. Much harder to get back. Interesting. All right.
There's a jump.
There we go.
Oh, nice.
Not Heisenbear says, "I followed Lydia on Twitter, and now I have to replace my mental image of the disembodied voice. Thanks, everyone,
You're
because you can
welcome.
see her face."
No, it's crazy.
Socialism is for figs says, "Our ancestors had to fight a massive war to save the world. We just have to sit at home and play games. Really, really hard times. I drive a semi and still have a PS4 in the rig. That's cool."
Nice.
I tweeted about that. A ton of people started attacking me. Like, how dare you? You have no idea. And I was like, listen, I know people lost their jobs. I know they can't pay rent.
Yeah.
You want to compare getting shot on the beaches of Normandy to not being able to pay your rent? You're free to do so. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, Bongo, thanks for the super chat. Viperus says, "I was born in 82, and growing up, I was told I was Gen X by adults. Then last year, I was told I was a millennial. Also, the shifting of the gen dates left my mother and sister 1 year from being the same generation." Wow.
Oh, man.
Kyle Miller says, "Soy Jesus, how about you live stream Final Fantasy VII tomorrow? Would be fun to watch. Also, if you dye your hair white, I will call you Sephiroth." Soy Sephiroth, sorry. Soy Sephiroth.
Wow, so many levels here. First off, amazing. I love Sephiroth. He's a really amazing character, and I think what I'm going to do is play the game myself, because I have been looking forward to this game for a very long time, and I want to just soak it up. So I'm going to do one playthrough, just myself, just playing it, and then I'm going to actually do a live stream of the game again. And I don't see myself dyeing my hair white, but man, would I love to cosplay Sephiroth. 'Cause, man, he is
You could do it.
sweet.
Jessica says, "The overflowing hospitals you see on the news are cherry-picked. We have thousands of cases in upstate New York, and the hospitals are not even close to capacity. Actual nurses here say it's fake news." They're definitely, well, it's hard to, I don't know if I would say cherry-picked, but they're highlighting for sure the hospitals that are being overrun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's tendency to the dramatic, definitely.
Right.
And
Well-
upstate New York is not the epicenter of what's happening. You know, it's like,
I
how
think-
far upstate is it? You know, upstate New York is a lot of space.
I think it's important and fair to point out not every hospital is overrun.
Yeah.
I also think it's very important to point out New York has begun digging mass graves for the dead in New York City. So
Yeah,
New York
exactly.
City is
No,
insanely dense.
They haven't begun. They've always done it.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean
That's
for the
what they
COVID
said.
deaths.
Right, but what's that? If they've been doing mass graves, it's like he even said, it's like, we've been doing this. This is
Right,
like
right.
half of them might not be COVID deaths. They just are continuing on, you know? Who
Well,
knows?
now they have substantially more dead in New York City.
Hmm.
So they're hiring contractors instead of prison labor. So look, you get it. Whatever.
Yeah, I
the
do.
point is made. All right, what do you got?
Soy for off.
Soy for off. Bongo says, "You guys would have a blast here in Puerto Rico. Keep up the great work. By the way, What do you think of the political situation here in Puerto Rico? I honestly don't know a whole lot about it.
Not familiar
I
enough.
have been to Puerto Rico, and it is awesome. The people there are incredible. I have some Puerto Rican friends in New York. In Brooklyn, there's a pretty solid Puerto Rican area. I lived right in the middle of it.
Do they do mango in Puerto Rico?
They're awesome. I don't know what mango is.
The mashed plantains.
Uh,
Remember, I used to get that all
I
the
didn't
time?
have it in Puerto Rico, but I did have it in Brooklyn where I was living in Bushwick. But
I think it's Dominican food.
I mean, why aren't they a state? If we do control them, or I don't really know too much about it, but they should have the right to vote, as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's their choice.
You know, so
I think it's their
I don't know
choice.
if they can vote. I'm not a politician, so I don't know exactly the depths of it all, but it's like, I don't know. I love Puerto Rico though. Rock out, Puerto Ricans. You guys are great.
Eslor just pitching in. Appreciate it. Jacob says, hey, Tim, I'm a new listener, but I just wanted to say I love your content. Keep doing what you do. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Nice.
Master of Skitari says, off topic, but have you seen the Astartes channel and his awesome videos? They are pretty epic since you missed me. I did not see it. We'll check it out. Michael Connor says, so tired of having to explain to people the differences between a racist and a xenophobe. All the people that cried racist effed everything up. Bongo X says, yes, soy Jesus. Yes. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Right.
Well, how about we talk about what it means to be a real man?
Yeah.
The Conversation writes, the coronavirus reveals just how deep macho stereotypes run through society. And you know what I actually saw in that headline? Yada yada, grumble mumble, social justice nonsense coronavirus.
Yep. I saw that too.
Nailed it.
That's all. I read that now. That's all I see. Blah, 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 blah. Social justice, social justice. We can shoehorn our ideology into anything.
Yeah.
Macho stereotypes.
See, now this is how we know that the pandemic is coming to an end.
You're right. Social justice is back.
It's back on the rise again.
Back for the season.
Yeah, exactly.
We're running out of things to talk about. So they're putting this stuff back in. And I am very happy to say that while we still are talking about the pandemic, as you mentioned, we're on the downswing.
Yeah.
So we get to pretend to be angry at them pretending to be angry about macho stereotypes. I mean that only somewhat. I think we're angry a little bit. So let's be fair and see what they have to say, because maybe we'll agree with them.
Yeah, maybe.
There's
But I doubt.
always a chance.
Here's what the Conversation writes. Early indications suggest more men are dying from COVID-19 than women,
Strong start.
although some countries, including the UK, are not publishing data on this. Experts are unsure exactly why this might be. It may in part be due to differences in biology. Suggestions have been made, for example, that it might be because men and women have a different immune response and that men's immune systems may not activate in the same way as women's to fight the virus. But lifestyle and behavior are also likely to play a role. For a start, men are more likely to have underlying health problems relevant to COVID-19, such as high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and some chronic lung diseases. This is in part because men are more likely to engage in risky behavior, such as smoking, drinking, and drug taking. Is that a macho stereotype? I don't know. Research also seems to indicate that some men may take personal hygiene, such as hand washing, less seriously than women. I agree. This could be due to the fact that cleanliness is often associated with femininity, domesticity, and beautification. Okay, now you entirely lost me. I think it has to do more with guys not caring.
They're lazy.
They roll out of bed, they don't take a shower, they slap a hat on their greasy heads, and they're like, let's go skate. That's about it.
Yep.
They don't care. It has nothing to do with like, oh no, if I wash my hands, I might be a woman. I don't think any dude has ever thought that.
Nope.
Maybe.
Or, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I have not thought that.
Maybe
Yeah, I
in the
don't
1200s. I will not be a dainty flower and wash my hands. I'm a warrior.
That's right.
However, the writer Carolyn Criado Perez has also pointed out that because most medical research focuses on male bodies, here we go, there is a lack of understanding about why women may be better able to fend off this virus. Now, hold on there, the Conversation. This is a particularly transphobic assessment.
This is,
Women's
wow.
bodies, women can be born male.
Whoa, I'm really triggered right now.
If we're going to go by the standard set of social justice narratives, this is very confusing.
Yeah.
They're trying to talk about femininity, male behaviors, but I don't know. I'm very confused by what the point is anymore, because this ideology makes zero sense.
Well, and they started this article by saying experts are unsure exactly why this may be. It's like, what? So wait, you led with, we don't know exactly why the title of the article says this, but I'm going to give you all my opinion on it. That's what I read from there. So, and what you just read is just like, yep, exactly. It's what you think.
They have a story here. Oh, they're linking to slate.com.
Oh, cool.
What's Slate? Is that
Slate is
nonsense.
regressive leftist.
great?
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
So when they mentioned that men, or that cleanliness is associated with femininity, domesticity, and beautification, I'm like, what's their source? Because they did put a source. It's Slate.
Okay.
The regressive left website.
One strike.
To be fair, Slate did write correctly about my trip to Sweden, only because it benefited them politically in the beginning.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's funny though, because people like rag on me for going to Sweden and reporting what I did. I'm like, I don't know. Slate and the Huffington Post said I was right. Here's what they write: loneliness and social isolation. The COVID-19 pandemic has also highlighted the different roles men and women are still expected to play in society. Men are not only less likely to take care of themselves, but also less likely to be involved in caring for others. It is striking how much women are depended on to deliver both low-paid and unpaid care work, whether for children, disabled people, older people, or those in ill health. Indeed, the pandemic is placing additional caring responsibilities on women. I'm curious about their assessment of this. A woman taking care of her own child, right? That's the unpaid caretaking, right?
Yeah.
I don't think women are going off on routine to like work at daycares for no money, right?
No? Yeah.
Okay.
You're correct. So that they're slotting this in under being a mother.
Right. That's why I'm like, what if the woman got a job in the men? I don't know. Like, I don't understand how this is like an issue for you. You have kids, you take care of them. Congratulations, you're a parent.
And if you're lucky, your parents live a long time and you might have to take care of
Yeah.
them too.
Yep.
COVID-19 is forcing people to reflect upon human fragility, mutuality, and interdependence. Oh, here come the weird adjectives and pronouns. But gender norms also require men to be invulnerable, always strong and self-sufficient. Does it? Men who also tend to socialize more in groups in public may take social distancing less seriously than women. They may find it difficult to accept they need help too, seeing it as unmanly to do so.
Where's that source from?
What is this?
What? Wait, what? You just completely lost me.
Yeah, I'm out.
No.
Promundoglobal.org. Masculine norms and men's health making the connections executive summary. That's their source.
No, if I'm going to do a job and I need help doing it, I'm not going to do that job. I'm going to go find someone to help me.
These are not.
I like getting other ideas because sometimes mine aren't the best.
This is what we were talking about yesterday. Why male feminists aren't real men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not. It's a lie.
Right. They're pretending to be tough and just saying what they think they need to say. That's not real man or manly.
Exactly.
Most guys I know who are regular guys don't think this way at all. It's a weird caricature.
It is weird.
It's like feminists got together and started talking about, like, started drawing a picture. It's like, ooh, make the eyes really big. Now make his cheeks really high. Okay, make his brow really curled. And they're drawing this picture where they're all pitching in weird things.
Yep.
They take bits of every person they've ever hated and mash it all together, and they've like drawn Gaston,
Yeah, I think you're right.
from Beauty and the Beast. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Older men in particular are more likely to experience loneliness and social isolation. What's your source on that one? Bristol.ac.uk. But that I believe. And this could put them in increased risk of mental health problems.
Okay.
That's terrible.
Gender norms also expect men to be powerful and in control. So while many men may relish the opportunity to be more involved at home, some have used it to assert more dominance and control over their partners and children. This is so weird.
It's getting further and further down the hole.
Yeah, that's the goal though, because they know if regular people read it and they start with the crazy first, they'll be like, I'm out. So you gotta rope them in,
Yeah, take it real slow.
All right, well let's do. What is this?
Yeah, please.
Oh, there it is. Patriarchy.
Oh, yes, we made it.
We made it. To
There it is.
patriarchy.
We arrived.
Of course, further down.
Of course.
You tripped and started rolling and then smack face into the patriarchy.
Ah,
These patriarchal discourses can have serious implications for government policy, such as encouraging overly militaristic authoritarian approaches and prioritizing male-dominated sectors of the economy and society. For instance, women are more likely to be in temporary, informal, or precarious work, which falls outside the protection packages being established. You know what, man? So women don't choose to be petroleum engineers. We need petroleum for the economy to function, for cars. And then they're complaining that we're not prioritizing their not as necessary job. How important is it for some of the work that they're doing? Probably important, within the reason.
Well, for specific jobs, sure.
But there's a reason why
Right.
some things are paid more than others, like high risk
Yeah.
or high necessity.
Yeah.
So
Or both.
if you're not working in petroleum engineering, which is a very important role in sustaining the economy, as much as environmentalists might not like to hear it, then don't be surprised when the government doesn't say we're going to make, feminist dance class an essential function. We're going to subsidize all feminist interpretive dance lessons. Why would they do that? Okay, I know I'm
funny.
exaggerating, but they are is part of the argument that if you're a mother, you should be paid something.
Yes.
Like if you have a kid,
Yeah,
is that the argument?
They call it unpaid and they call it emotional labor.
who should pay you?
The government, I'm sure. Mommy government.
The government should pay me because I had kids. I mean, they kind of do that in what country is Hungary? Was it Hungary?
Yeah, if you have more than a certain number of children,
You get
they'll
a
give
tax
you
break.
Tax
Tax
refund.
refund. All right, here's what they say. More broadly, this crisis is a huge opportunity to reassess political priorities and gender relations. It offers the chance to overturn years of neglect by recognizing the essential contribution of care to society. This will not only help to encourage men to play their part, but it will go some way towards shifting harmful gender norms in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We did a video, and if you guys missed this video, go watch it, because there's so much that we can say, but we've said it. We've had this conversation so many times, and what I'm really thinking of right now is what was that video that we said, who are the real privileged in the society?
Yeah.
It's women.
Yeah.
And we explain it, though. We go through it in depth in this video.
Right.
And there's an age level, and it changes.
Societal value.
It changes through the years, so it's not always true.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it is.
Well, no. It's early on.
Yeah, early in life.
So
it's
early
easier.
on, it's right. And as they get older,
it's
they
harder.
get
Go
less
down.
and less important, and that's the louder and louder mouth happens.
Well, the
Yes,
general
true.
the general problem, my hypothesis is that. So when you look at the dating data from like OkCupid,
Right.
and you look at other data, you can see that young women are the baseline for highest possibility societal value, and young men start off as a 0, quite literally, and young women start off at 100 on a scale of 0 to 100.
Right.
Over time, young men having no status, they're not strong, they're not tall, they're not developed.
They have no
money,
no job.
Right. They're very, very low in societal value.
Yeah.
But young women are very high for obvious reasons, child rearing and healthy birthing and things like this. Whether the feminists want to admit it, that's what the evolutionary psychologists have pointed out. And over time, as young men become more experienced, more capable, more skilled, more wealthy, they start becoming more and more valuable. And considering that a man can have kids well into like his 70s,
However late he wants.
however late he wants,
As long as the gun still shoots.
it takes men a long time to grow. But here's the thing. A man in his 30s, around 33 or 34, becomes the most valuable they will ever be. And it doesn't get anywhere near the top. So women will always have more value to society based on certain data sets
Right.
than a man ever could. But around their mid-20s, I think around 28 or 29, men and women invert. Men are going up and passing women who go down in value.
Yeah.
But there's a fair point to make in that the value for women was never about their careers, their minds, their abilities. It was always about their ability to have kids. So the value they did have as young people might not be the value they wanted.
It's about their looks, isn't it?
Well, right. And it's a combination of factors, but looks so a man looks at a woman, he's trying to see, when it comes to evolution, who's going to have good kids.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't need to know if you're smart or not.
Right.
Kind
doesn't
of.
matter.
It's important to some, but not all.
No, but it actually does play a really big role. The reason why 22 is the most sought after age for all men is because of life experience. So you want to know something really, really creepy?
I guess.
They did a blind study. I don't know who they is. I was reading this article about it, where they showed images of women and asked men to rate who do you think is the most attractive out of all these women. And guess what the age was?
22.
No.
Really?
Much younger.
Go down.
Oh no. 18.
Yeah.
Go down.
Younger.
Younger?
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I don't want to guess anymore.
don't know.
Yeah, because it's under 18.
I don't.
And this is what people don't realize.
I don't get that, because I mean, looking at, if you were to look at like 10 to 100 and the years, there's a point where, like 24, you kind of look more adult-ish. And under that, it's not even attractive anymore to me. It's just childish now.
What I was reading was that
I don't get it.
22 is the prime age because it's young, but you're like an adult.
Okay.
So men didn't want to be around someone who was a child, who was going to act like a child. So when they were given images of women but weren't told their ages and left to make assumptions, they chose very, very young.
What
on
was the
average.
age?
You really want to know?
Everyone's now guessing in the chat. So
Let's see. What are they
We
guessing?
got to find out.
16, 14.
14.
It was 14.
That's
14.
the age.
Gosh.
Yeah.
No.
Creepy.
You want to know something even grosser?
No. I
You ever
can't
go
do
to?
it.
You,
I
you-
don't.
You ever go to a mall?
I'm with Lydia here. No.
You ever go to a
I'm
mall?
good.
You've been to a mall, right?
I've been to a mall. Yeah.
All right. You ever walk past those like lingerie shops and you see the beautiful women in their underwear in
Sure.
You've seen like ads with models for like perfume and stuff.
Yep, I've been in them.
And you know how old these women are, right?
Yes.
And you know many of them are 14, 15.
Not all the time, actually. So, I mean, it depends, actually, because I actually know because I was in that world and I worked with these specific models, and they weren't like
Not all of them. It depends on what you're doing.
I would say of the jobs that I did, the average age was probably like 20 years old.
20.
20.
There were some
And,
ads.
I mean, yes, there was very few times. I'd say about 2% of the jobs that I did, and I modeled for a long time doing like the top stuff.
But could it be that it's because you were older that they had you working in similar spaces with people who are old enough?
No, I mean, I did American Eagle 3 times, and it was like they wanted everyone to look young, So it's
Yeah.
like but there was always like 20-year-olds, 20 to 24-year-olds. I've never worked with anyone under the age of 18.
I've been on a bunch of sets,
Uh-huh.
and I don't want to violate anyone's privacy by getting into too much detail.
Okay.
But it's young, man. All
All right, sure. I mean, that was my main job for 15 years.
But here's what
I know what I'm talking about.
And I could say exactly this. I've been on a bunch of sets where the women were all underage.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if the reason you were on sets with women who were older is because you had a certain look and they wanted that to match versus putting a woman in a bra and panties and taking pictures of her.
You know where the young that I saw the young models, what they were doing? Runway. And it's a different environment. Runway modeling to like print modeling, it is two completely different things. And print modeling, I didn't see a lot of younger underage models. I have seen it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I did see it, but not much. Not as much as you're suggesting.
I mean, the experience I've had.
Mm-hmm. Have you been a model? Have you modeled in long?
I want to avoid violating.
Got a lot of experience modeling.
To avoid violating the privacy of certain individuals, I'm gonna
Just messing with you,
avoid.
man.
I've been on many sets.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of it,
Right on.
and I've looked at ads and been like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And I've had agents be like, you know how old that girl is, the one who's got like her bra falling off and she's squeezing, 14. I've been in these offices where the agencies are talking about who they're booking and why they're booking it.
Okay.
And that's why I'm asking. I'm wondering if it's like you as like with a certain look, they were
Yeah.
like, we're going to have women who fit your style. And maybe that was your experience.
I guess.
I believe
that
you.
was my main profession for a long time.
I'm not saying
so.
literally every single thing all the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of these ads that I've been, they're young women. They're underage.
But they look, it's funny, but they look older though. Those 14-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds that you're talking about look of a certain age. And that's not, it's rare to get the on camera look that they want of that younger age. And usually it's not American. It's not usually not American girls. It's usually from other countries. But
it's
all
young.
good.
Well, whatever. That data, that's the thing I was reading was like nuts. And also the thing I was reading from OkCupid about like peak societal value. I think they don't allow people to evaluate people under 18. So it like started at 18 as like 100 and then went down.
Yeah.
But there was some other study I was reading where they were like, we just took a bunch of images and asked men to rate them. And what I was reading from that was they mentioned something about the age of models and why models are chosen who are typically very young for these reasons. Because without knowing anything about them, men are like, ooh, that's attractive.
It's interesting. There is a direct correlation with what you were talking about, how women start at 100 and go down, and men start at 0 and go up. And in the modeling world, it is the exact same way.
Yep.
All my friends that are girl models, they are always talking about like, I really need to maintain. I need to stay in shape. Like I like competition's getting rough. You know, I'm not getting booked as much. And then the guys, I know some guys that are still modeling and they're in their 50s now.
Yep.
You know, it's like,
I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing because
Yeah.
women could switch to lifestyle or something or catalog.
that's true. Yeah.
And then
that's
it's
true.
like then you're the mom, then you're the grandma.
Yep.
And they're still looking for
It exists, but
Yeah.
those jobs tend to already have them
Right.
filled, you know.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so like a dude will be like, "Oh, great, I'm getting gray coming in," and they're like, "Ooh, that's great, we could use that."
Yep.
And the women are like, "Oh God, my wrinkles. What do I do?"
Yep, that's why I'm growing this beard out. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I don't model anymore.
All right. We do have to we do want to get to the moon mining one, so I definitely want to read super chats, but I'm gonna have to go quick again. We've got
Quick.
a moon mining story,
Oh yeah.
which is really really interesting.
I don't mind going long because I'm just waiting for midnight.
Help him
I
kill
do
some
need
time.
to sleep. I gotta wake up.
I don't
at like
care about
7.
you. I just want to play Final
He
Fantasy.
gets up early.
All right, let's see. Where are we at? Bobcat says, for all three of you, if you could own any one firearm in regular use, what would it be and why? In regular use?
In regular use.
I don't know anything about guns.
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean,
Any one firearm.
know.
Didn't like Nazi Germany build this like gigantic like 200 caliber insanely
It says
large?
in regular use.
I would probably
that's right.
I would probably want a hunting rifle of some sort of
Yeah.
hunting rifle. You know, long range, bolt action.
50 cal anti-material
no, not
anti-tank
that crazy,
weapon,
but
yeah.
tripod,
AK.
belt fed 7.62, 50 cal or
I
something.
want a
Sure,
Gatling
yeah.
gun.
yeah,
Yeah.
have at it.
Yeah.
It's in regular use. Just in what context? I don't know. I don't know anything about guns, man. Let's see. Kiki says, Tim, you ever see the Gurren Lagann? If you like DBZ, I have a feeling you'll love it. I will look into it. Jordan says, Mr. Poole, look up the COVID-19 situation in the Philippines. It's messed up here. I was hearing it. That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Andrew Kelly says, hey, Tim, any updates on the U.S. Navy's action near Venezuela? Not that I've seen so far.
Haven't seen anything.
But you will talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if we see it. Angry Bellsprout says, when are we getting the BitChute account called Tim's No-No videos that the NSDAP types won't allow on YouTube? I mean, if there's something I can't do, I put it on my Timcast News channel. And then when it gets demonetized and flagged, I'm like, whatever. You know, there it is. It's because my main channel, the people in San Francisco literally watch every video. My second channel, they don't seem to care about. James Boone says, really enjoying the new show format, Tim. Keep up the good work. I will do my best. Student of History says, hey, Tim, want to play a buzzword drinking game for a live stream? We can. Andrew says, hey, Tim, you have a fave meme? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. I just can't think of it. No idea.
Oh, you do have a favorite meme.
Which
It's
one?
the Lord of the Rings one, where he's casting it into
I
the
mean,
fire.
kind
That's the one
of.
you reference most often.
Well, I've referenced it 3 times. Yes,
Keeping track.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, that seems
Yeah.
like your favorite one.
It's because there's the first recent context I used it in was the moderate Democrats being voted in, promising to get rid of the orange man bad narrative, the impeachment scams. And then as soon as they were given the ring, the moderate districts were like, cast it into the fire. And they're like, no. And then they put on impeach Trump. Rah. And now they're going to get voted out, but I guess we'll see.
Yep.
Kevin says, working through these times from home. Appreciate having you guys on in the background. Thank you. Hey, appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Definitely.
Wolfsbane says, for these feminists complaining about being a parent, what you want, a cookie? Chris Rock. Right. It's like, you're a parent. Like,
Yeah.
you got to raise kids, man.
Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't that a Chris Rock joke where he was like, so many people are like, well, my kid's never gone to jail. And he's like, what? Your kid's not supposed to go to
Cookie?
jail.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Julian says, you have to be married to get those tax breaks. Interesting.
Yeah, very traditional.
Yu says, Pool, Jesus, 2024. Josh Clark says, you get a tax refund in the U.S. if you have kids. We have 3, and I get, I think, $2,000 for each child. Also, y'all are my nightly routine. Love y'all. Hey, appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you.
And we just jumped.
There
Edwin
it is.
says, hello from Long Island, staying strong with Staples still open.
Oh, nice.
Staples? Like
Seems-
Staples? Like the office
The office
store?
supply place.
All right.
Okay.
J-Mac says, I'm with Adam. If I have to guess, keep moving. Sorry, petite ladies.
Yep.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Ant says, sexual marketplace value isn't the same as societal value. Well, so the point I want to clarify too is that I'm not saying women should be happy with that metric. Like just because, you know, they're valued because they're young and attractive, it doesn't mean they want to be.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, some women are complaining that they're not valued for their time, effort, talent, intelligence, and things like that. It's a fair argument.
Yeah, I feel like that whole study is taking like the base animal nature of humans, and that is what they're looking at.
Right.
You know, very polarized. But when you broaden it out, and it's like, no one says that women can't do anything a guy can do. Can't, you know, like they can do it, and mentally, there's women that are smarter than men. It's
just about the bell curve. It's the
the bell curve.
There are
you keep
more
talking
male
about.
geniuses than female geniuses.
Right. It's not to say that they're not out there.
So if you have 1 million people, and 1% of the males are geniuses, and 0.2% of the females are geniuses, but there's only 500 available jobs, it'll most likely be filled by men. It's not an issue of bigotry or discrimination. It's that there's more male geniuses. There's also more male morons than female morons. Men are more likely to be stupid than women, or really stupid. I mean, it's actually average when you put them all together.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gothic says you also have to factor in the women over 18 that can look underaged. Bloody says men prefer women between the ages of old enough but not old enough to be a hoe. There you go. Based says, why can't Lydia sit in your spot for a segment to our show? I love y'all. Keep doing what you do. Finding lefties with integrity is refreshing. Thank you. Because she's actually doing the camera work and other general production stuff, writing things down and looking things up.
Yeah, you can't see it, but she's got a whole setup over there.
Yeah, I got my little desk over here.
You'll be able to see it
Very
eventually.
Important.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Disabled Beauty, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank
Mark
you.
G says, Tim, you can go to sleep and leave us with Soy just reading super chats and talking about what he's excited about for Final Fantasy VII. Maybe you just leave it running and you can come down and play Final Fantasy
I
VII.
could talk about Final Fantasy VII for a while. I don't know if you guys maybe want to hear it. I don't know. Who knows?
Some grumpy goat says, out of curiosity, do any of you listen to retro wave, synthwave music? I do not.
I don't.
I don't classify my music like that, but I might. I listen to all sorts of music.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go a little later today because we got a moon mining
let's do
mission.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is an authoritarian dictator who has just signed an executive order.
Here's proof.
Listen to this. The authoritarian madman has signed an executive order to commercialize the solar system and mine on the moon. I'm kidding. He signed an executive order, but I don't think it's, even if it was a decree, it's actually kind of cool. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's going to be fun.
It's not really surprising.
But you know what? I'm curious about moon mining. Like, what if we're gonna mine on the moon and bring that stuff back, right?
Right.
We're like reclaiming the moon. It used to be a part of Earth that got like blown off by like a collision.
Supposedly, it's actually in the air.
You know what?
They don't know exactly where the moon is formed.
Why don't-
There's 3 different theories that they're toying with.
Why don't we just take a cable?
We could talk about that.
We should just take a cable, right? Mm-hmm. And hook it, just like hook it to a hitch on Earth, and then go up to the moon and hook it to a hitch on the moon.
You know
And
why
then
that wouldn't work?
We'll crank it in.
You know why that wouldn't work?
Why would that not
Because
work?
it would slow the rotation of Earth down to a stop, and we would stop turning.
If we pulled the moon into Earth?
The drag of they thought about like space elevators.
Yeah.
Or like someone wanted to do like a tether to like a satellite something, and the research showed that eventually it would affect the rotation of Earth. So if we were to hook the moon up, it would just like halt us, and we would stop spinning.
I wasn't gonna say just stop. I was gonna say crank it in. Once you get the cable in, you can start.
Oh, bring it closer.
Yeah, spinning the crank, and then why mine the moon? Just bring the moon here.
Well, technically, it's in a perfect orbit around us. So if it gets closer, it's actually moving further away from us.
Oh,
Actually,
man, wrong way.
but if it were to get closer, eventually it would fall and connect with us, and that would
Terminally.
be pretty bad.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Well,
That'd be bad.
back to the fun. Donald Trump did, in fact, sign an executive order.
Yep.
They say, and I love when they do these narratives.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I can't stand it.
I can't
Neil
stand it
Armstrong
either.
captivated the world when he took one giant leap onto the moon's surface. Moon's dusty surface in 1969. Yes, we know this. It has nothing to do with the news. President Donald Trump, who began his foray into galactic affairs when he championed the Space Force to fight extraterrestrial wars. The extraterrestrial? Do you know what terrestrial means? Are you kidding me? It would be the Mars Force, you morons. Trump did not start a space force to fight on other planets. Extraterrestrial means other planets. Who are these people?
No,
I don't know, but I don't like their article very much.
Wow.
it's a great start.
To fight extraterrestrial wars is looking for his own moon landing moment.
Mm-hmm.
I am angered by my nerddom is furious at their improper articulation. In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, the White House announced Monday an executive order in which Trump calls for U.S. business interests to mine the moon. I love that. That's it. It's like Trump hereby decrees by executive order, if you got a business, go mine the moon. Okay, let's get started. I'll need a rocket, a couple of them.
Yeah.
Though the order specifies that a return to the moon would allow the country to explore and exploit lunar minerals, it insinuates that the scope of this new era of commercialization would apply to the moon, Mars, and other celestial bodies. Okay, now that's extraterrestrial. Lunar development would include a search for minerals as well as water, and this would require partnerships between the U.S. government and private industry. Well, what else is new? According to the order, one of the major roadblocks holding businesses back from mining the moon is uncertainty regarding the right to recover and use space resources, including the extension of the right to commercial recovery and use of lunar resources. Trump's executive order attempts to advance the scarce legal framework that governs various nations' claims to space. Several international resolutions, such as the Moon Agreement, have been adopted over the past 50 years, but the administration, in its order, did not acknowledge the legitimacy of these.
Yeah, in 1979, there was an international treaty saying they wouldn't mine planets, and America never signed that treaty.
Good.
Huh,
They
weird.
were like,
That's ridiculous.
No. And you know what? If we're gonna go, we have to mine.
Come on, it's America.
We can't. We have to figure out a way to make it self-sustaining. And if there is water somewhere, we have to get it. You know,
Water?
I told you about that show Mars. It's really interesting how it parallels real life because it is half documentary. So it talks about a lot of this stuff, and it goes over the whole science is going to discover stuff, but then private enterprise also goes and they're mining and they don't care about the treaties. They're not in the treaties. And it's like this treaty that they were talking about is the countries that are in the treaty. But SpaceX can go, if they go out and land on Mars and they can start mining, they're not part of this treaty.
Well, I think it's very likely that we're going to see colonization from private entities.
Absolutely.
That no one can do anything about.
Absolutely. It's international waters out there.
So
no one owns the moon.
Well, Elon Musk
yet.
is building this really big spaceship to go to Mars.
Right.
He actually, he personally told me this.
Okay.
Yeah. Elon
Did
Musk.
he tell you?
Because I tweeted
Oh
at
yeah,
him,
I remember this.
why aren't you building an Iron Man suit? He's
Yeah.
like building Starship. But I wonder if Elon Musk does this, what will it won't be a country? I got to be honest, man. Companies function in a very authoritarian manner. Like, you can quit a company, so it's not like, they're Nazis or anything. But the boss is the boss. You can't question the boss. They can kick you out. You can't do anything about it. Could you imagine being on Mars as an employee of the the corporation?
And then getting fired?
Not getting fired, like you can't get fired. So they're probably going to have rigorous testing and all that stuff.
That's a good point.
But complaining. I think I'd need more food. No. Okay.
Yeah, the company controls everything about your life because they're providing you a place to live.
Indentured servitude on
kinda
Mars.
tough.
Well, they have very strict regiments of what they eat, astronauts.
But I do think, honestly, if you volunteered to be like one of the first missions to Mars, you're probably not coming back. They're going to treat you like a king.
I agree.
It's like you're gonna have the best of the best. Every movie, every video game.
Yeah.
Man, if I'm sure the latency is way too high. It's probably like what is the latency to Mars? Like 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
You can't play any video games with anybody.
You know what's
Unless
really
we figure out
crazy?
better tech.
When we first went into space, astronauts were heroes. They were like, everyone was like, "You're going where no one's gone before. You are champion. You are the champion human." And it's like, no one really thinks about astronauts. Like 3 astronauts flew off Earth this morning at 4 a.m. I don't know if you guys knew this, but they flew off in the Soyuz and connected with the International Space Station, and that's so cool. Like I don't know if you noticed, I'm really into space stuff. It's great, but we don't champion them the way we used to, and I feel like it might be coming around because there's a new sense that we're going to go out there. We're going to go.
You've
back.
seen Interstellar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we literally just watched this because I think it was on before we did the show.
Yeah.
And there's that scene where he goes to the school and the teacher says, we built useless machines to pretend like we were going to go places we never went. We never went to the moon, blah, 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 blah. Like that mentality is actually becoming prominent. When Elon Musk launched the car into space, a lot of people cheered. And then a bunch of activists condemned it, saying he wasted all this money. Why is he spending billions of dollars to go to space? Why isn't he helping people here? And then people had to correct them and say, you realize he didn't spend the money on the moon. He spent it on people working on the Earth
Yeah.
to build things.
Right.
And then other people were like, you realize the purpose of sending the car into space was to make something exciting and fun that would inspire people.
Right.
So they would see this car in space, which is silly, but then it would create a moment that people would look at and be like, wow, that was when he launched the Tesla with the guy in it. And
Well, it was also
cool.
a test payload,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
They had to put something in there, and they're not going to put a human in there. And that's
Right.
actually part of the reason why we stopped
And it
doing
missed.
space races, because the Challenger mission, when we
Right.
lost all those astronauts, it was devastating for the public. The public didn't want people to die going into space. I mean, it's inevitable. It's space. It's not Earth.
Did you hear that the Tesla car missed?
What do you mean?
Its trajectory was off.
No, I didn't
And now
know
they're
that.
like, whoops. Now it's going to drift off into space and then come back in like 1,000 years or something.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was supposed to do. I was reading an article about it where they
Whoops.
were like, it's a good thing it wasn't a real person, because now it's
Definitely.
like, ooh, there it goes.
And then, I mean, I retweeted. Everyone's been asking Elon to post the video of the Falcon landing.
Yeah.
And he did it. Did you see the retweet that I tweeted?
No.
Man, it's so cool. There's a video of just like attached to the side of the rocket coming back from space and landing on the platform on
I've
the water.
seen that.
That's amazing.
So cool.
Yeah,
Blows
dude.
me away. It's so cool where we are now.
And the government couldn't get it done.
No.
When the U.S. was competing with the Soviet Union, they got a lot done.
That's true.
When the U.S. dominated with no competition, they don't got to do anything. They sit around on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, if Elon Musk came a knocking and said, Adam, I want you to come in the rocket and be the first person on Mars,
I wouldn't do it.
you wouldn't do it?
No, I thought about this a lot actually, and it's not that I don't want to go to Mars. I would like to go to Mars, but I don't know. It's an interesting question. I mean, I want to have a family here, and I want to be a part of my family. And if I know what it would take to go to Mars, and I can't do that. I can't commit to that much time.
I was reading that they actually only want to send couples.
Really?
Yeah, like one of the things I was reading about Mars mission was
That
that
makes sense.
researchers said it has to be couples because,
It helps sanity.
right, people will lose their minds
Yeah.
if they're isolated this way.
Mm-hmm.
And in close quarters, coupling actually works a lot better. So, and they'll end up having kids, and they'll establish themselves there with their family and be less reliant on social interaction from strangers or anything like that. And so I was reading something like they actually want like 10 couples so that there's a mini community in society where people are reliant. They have their social structure. They can raise a family and be there permanently.
That's kind of neat.
Yep.
And then the plan would be to slowly send supplies there, not leave.
You should see the show Mars. It's really cool.
Why aren't we doing this? Where's Elon Musk? Someone give me Elon's phone number. I'm going to call him and
happening.
say, Elon,
This is
go to Mars.
happening. This whole thing that Trump just did is because we need to be able to mine the moon when we set up the base there, which is what the Artemis program is, which is happening.
When did Artemis start?
I think it started last year when he announced it, but I'm not
Really?
certain. But I know that their plan was
You mean-
to be on the moon by 2024. Now it's been pushed back because of COVID, so now it's going to be 2029.
Oh, what?
I know, yeah. I'm a
Where's
little
that
disappointed.
virus? I'm going to go show him what for.
Yeah, please do. Would you please?
Clogging up our system
Thank
for
you.
5 years?
Right?
I know, right?
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, so we're going to get to the moon.
Mhm.
We're going to build like a moon port,
Yep.
and then we're going to use that as a launching base to go to Mars. Makes a lot of
That's-
sense.
That's the plan.
I wonder what's on the moon? Is there anything there that we could use for like refining a fuel of some sort?
They say that in the dust particles they've found stuff that they can use. I don't
fuels.
have it pulled up right now, but yeah, there is stuff out there. I'm pretty sure there's ice somewhere on the moon.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
All we
I
got
want
to
to look
do
into it.
is invent replicators.
Man, wouldn't
Then
that
we're
be
done.
great? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, you need tea, Earl
would-
Grey, hot.
Yep.
Boom. A gallon of gas. There you go. Now you can go drive your car around. Dude, I'm stoked. I mean, it's cool that we're going to see this in our lifetimes. We're probably going to be old dudes watching, in the virtual neural link or whatever is out by then. Oh, maybe maybe we can download the experience package.
Like Total Recall.
Yeah, like I was actually thinking about Neuralink. Like, if somebody's got a Neuralink in their brain and it's recording their experience, and they go to the Mars, right? And then they transmit the experience data. It's like, a 50 terabyte file or something.
Mm-hmm.
They transmit it back to Earth, and you can download it for like $20 and get the I'm going to Mars experience. And you just connect, and then you like experience everything, what they felt, what they saw.
Total Recall.
Yeah, dude. But like
You've seen that movie, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. The original one, Going to Mars.
People are popping up in the chat with helium-3 is on the moon. It's
and they can use that as a fuel?
Yeah, it's a
Interesting.
There's
fuel.
a bunch of stuff on the moon.
Yeah,
Cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, chat.
According to Futurama, there were whalers on the moon, in case you didn't know this.
I did
Yes,
not
they
know
carry a
this.
harpoon.
We're whalers on the moon.
Yeah.
Yes.
That song popped in my head.
Yeah,
I know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
And then I love it when they show the honeymooners, and he's like, one of these days, bang, zoom, straight to the moon.
Yeah.
And then Fry's like, Leela goes, I didn't know your astronauts were so fat. He's like, that's not an astronaut. And he wasn't talking about going to the moon. He was using space travel as a metaphor for beating his wife.
Yeah,
I love that show.
Basically.
Terrible.
All right. Let's go to let's grab the last few super chats, and then
Yep.
looks like we went a little long today, but make sure, again, hit the like button, subscribe, follow me and Adam. You can find us
Follow
on
me
Twitter.
up.
And because you can send Adam suggestions for stories that you want us to talk about.
Yep, please do. It really helps me out a lot. So
All right.
yeah,
Matt Field
appreciate you
says,
guys.
when selecting a firearm, pick one compatible with your country's military and National Guard. Ammo, parts, and magazines galore for AR-15s in the U.S. Very smart. Fearless Soldier says, getting more CO2 for my airsoft pistol. Only gun you can own in NJ. They come in tomorrow, and I'm going to shoot cans to waste time and practice for arenas.
Nice.
Kyle says, not gay Lydia. It's a Crowder reference.
Not
Oh.
gay Jared.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I were that cool.
Hunter says, will you ever take feet pics and start an OnlyFans? Who are you talking to me?
That's a no from everyone.
I don't
It's a
know.
no from everyone.
Solid no.
Andrew says, after you guys get out of the Wu Flu quarantine and can travel again, if you all wind up in KS, I'll buy you all a beer. Keep it the good commentary.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Hunter
Appreciate
Moore says, will you ever take what? You already asked that one.
Oh.
Sir Badass says, enjoy the show. I work night shifts at a gas station in Florida. Business is dead here, but corporate is paying us an extra $2 an hour for this month. Hey,
Wow.
cool.
Cool.
Soak it up.
Based Okie says, Sissy boys in the chat, it's the curiosity of seeing her on camera. I like, okay, I'm not going to read that, but there you go. It's a woman writing that, so I'm not going to read what she wrote. Steelman Sam says, sup gang, conservative viewer, love the show, enough to pay money. Have you seen the new treatment research showing that ventilators being the cause of increased death rate? Start looking at the virus's effect on blood cells' ability to absorb oxygen. Interestingly, in the Spanish flu, they think that the number was increased by, I think, aspirin poisoning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And a doctor recently came out and said they need to stop doing ventilation pressure
Yeah.
because it's destroying lungs and killing people.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I did
But-
hear about this actually.
Yeah.
Something
He said
about
O2 or something?
the ability to take iron into the hemoglobin or something like that.
No, I don't know what that is. But
Something similar about that, but it's about the blood, not the lungs itself.
oh, but I mean, people are still.
I need to do more
dropping-
research. I don't know
dropping
enough.
dead, so-
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
enough about it.
Blinky Bill said, "Oh, we just jumped. There we go." Blinky Bill says, "If we start mining the moon, are we going to worry about changing the mass of an orbiting object that has physical effects on the Earth?"
That's
I'm
really,
saying,
really good question.
yeah, and making the Earth bigger when we bring it back.
Changing our tides. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big question. Yeah.
J Max says, "Adam, I too am crazy excited for Final Fantasy VII. I remember playing through and looking online for ways to keep Ares from dying. Spoilers. So easy
I
to
wish.
believe BS back in the early days of the internet. What was your 3 characters you took through the game, or did you mix it up?"
I would do Sid, Barrett, and Cloud. Those are my team.
Right on.
And I always wished that she didn't die, but that's what made
Spoiler
that
alert.
game so incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, the game's 23 years old.
Yeah, right.
Come on, it's okay.
Cliff says, "Would moon mining affect the tides?"
I
I'd
don't
imagine.
know.
I'd imagine
At
eventually.
a certain point, maybe.
Yeah.
Lawrence Custom, thanks for the super chat. Student of History says, "If you think moon mining is going to get good, just wait till they get to Titan for the methane natural gas. Ooh, we're going to have giant ships of like crazy fuel and combustion."
So cool.
Yep.
Ground Floor Guthrie says, "The major components of lunar soil is iron, titanium, aluminum, and magnesium. There is also creep available and possibly H3, which can help facilitate fusion power. What the moon lacks is carbon." Very
you.
interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for that.
Jack Leone says, "You guys should play Outer Worlds, RPG about a massive colony ran by authoritarian corporations. Very relevant."
Didn't you try?
I did. I did play it. What I didn't
Yeah.
like about it is that it's a bunch of mini maps instead of one big map.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like Oblivion. I like Fallout because it's one big map and you can go explore and find stuff.
Yeah. You can go
Outer
any
Worlds,
direction.
a bunch of small maps.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, it's a good game, but you know. Fearless Soldier says, "There is a 4K live stream from the ISS. It's so cool." Absolutely cool.
It is.
Andrew says, when we get real hologram projecting dual discs from, when will we get real hologram projecting dual discs from Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know if we'll ever prioritize that, so we'll see. Ground Floor says, I misspelled creep. Also, the moon lacks nitrogen. Xerxes says, 10 couples. Oof, wait till someone cheats. Then all hell will break loose. I don't know, though. I don't know, though. I was reading about how there's like, they thought it was sustainable. Super Guy says, Adam, have you watched the 2019 Apollo 11 documentary? They used 70 millimeter high definition archived film to help narrate the movie. Lots of amazing unreleased footage. It's unbelievable. Also, you guys rock.
Very cool.
Appreciate it.
I haven't seen it, and I will definitely check that out.
Right on. Alcoholic says, there ain't no getting off this train. We're on till we reach the end of the line.
Yeah.
Augustine says, a single model agency separates model lineups by department or garment lines. My short stint at 16 with school clothes, we did shoots next door to girls' modeling team for swimwear, and turns out they were all younger than me. Wow.
Yeah,
It
dude.
does happen.
Epstein didn't kill himself says, hey, did you guys ever do that poll on the floaty alien ship? No, I didn't.
We decided to have both, I think.
Yep,
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
it. Just brought them both.
Yeah.
Eric says, such Timpoolery. That is indeed what is
Correct.
happening.
Yes.
We're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. We do the show every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. live.
Yep.
And we post the full raw stream in the comments and in the community section of this channel. But we put up clips every day. So if you like these videos, you want to see the clips and all that stuff, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, all that normal YouTube stuff.
There's my tag.
Follow Adam because you can suggest stories to him. So I do my show in the morning, and then we collect as many stories as we can. But if you send stuff to Adam, then Adam can prep for the show we do later in the night.
I peruse them, and not all of them are, a lot of times we've already done them, but
Yeah.
it always helps. So
Basically,
I
Adam,
appreciate you guys.
he comes to me and he shows me on the phone, and we both just point and laugh at everyone's stupid. It's like, oh, look how dumb these people are. And we laugh. It's really, really enjoyable for us. So please don't stop. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Adam will be like, yo, check out this tweet.
They
It's
will
really
not
cool.
laugh at you.
Yeah, no.
No, but for real, yeah. If you send him a tweet, then we can grab whatever stories you might have in mind if we make it in. So that being said, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Adios, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good night.